Hi, I'm Ethan Grigolt, driver of the Evolution Racing team and the Logitech G Racing Hyundai XL. Before I got into real racing, sim racing pretty much taught me everything I know when it comes to racing lines on the track, car control, racecraft around other cars, just everything to do with racing I learned on sim racing first. When I jumped into the real car, it was a bit of a wake-up call. There's a lot more sensations in a real car than you get in the sim, but once you get past that, pretty much a lot of the techniques are exactly the same, and if you're good in the sim and you're not afraid too much in the real world, you should be able to translate it easily.
When I'm driving an F1 car, steering wheel feedback is one of the most important things. It helps me decide when to brake and how hard. It's how I feel the surface of the road. Every bump in the terrain, every wheel slip. If my tyres are starting to lose grip, I can sense that immediately. When I'm driving in a sim, I need that same tactility, that level of detail I have in a real car.
Racing games have come a long way in the last 20 years. Nothing's really changed in how we approach force feedback in all that time. Cutting-edge sims are now so realistic, drivers across all disciplines are using them for training. Our main goal when designing Trueforce was to improve the number of sensations that you actually feel, to put you better in contact with the car that you're driving so that you can improve your performance and that enjoyment of driving on a track. The physical feedback needs to be more immediate or accurate, or a player loses immersion or control.
Game developers are still having to recreate their force feedback from a set library of effects instead of deriving it from real-time modelling.
Trueforce is special because it levels the playing field for PC and console gamers. You're now getting the extra level of precision and detail that you need, regardless of which platform is your choice. This is not just iteration, it's total evolution. Trueforce force feedback works differently. It hooks directly into the physics engine of the game. Games already calculate the forces on the tyres and the steering wheel. The Trueforce algorithm is able to process this data at up to 4,000 times a second. It will even use the game's audio engine and pass it directly on to the driver.
We spend a lot of time as audio designers trying to make each car sound unique and as realistic as we possibly can. Being able to integrate the audio into the force feedback is something that we've wanted to do for a long time, and Trueforce enables us to do that. And the ability to send the audio to the wheel, to have it respond and vibrate with the loss of traction, really increases my ability to give that immersion to the player.
You can sense the changing surface of the road. You'll be able to feel if the back end of the car is losing grip.
The first time we had it running in the build, I could feel the wheel humming and vibrating as we revved the engine. Our immediate reaction was it really adds another level of immersion.
The first thing you're going to feel with a Trueforce wheel is the engine note. The minute the engine starts in the game, you will know exactly which car you are driving. Trueforce is the beginning of something new. This is now the foundation for all wheels that we'll produce in the future. This extra level of information gives everyone all the information they need to learn how to control their car better. Trueforce benefits any racing fan looking for a more realistic driving experience.
Because winning is all about feeling.
Well, the holidays are over and the European summer has come to an end, and we are back for round 5 of the Logitech G Pro Invitational Series from the magnificent Spa circuit here in Belgium. This track is the longest in the calendar and has the potential to cause the most excitement with plenty of passing opportunities. Series leader Jared Filsell is on a great run at the moment, but with no dropped rounds, it will only take one bad round to be at the back of the pack. But to call all the action, we welcome back Jake Blackall and Stephen Sandman-Clark. So guys, great to be back. How was the break and how much are you looking forward to getting back into the action?
I can't wait to get back into the action. It's been a good 6 weeks off, but we're back here at the Spa-Francorchamps for Logitech G Pro Invitational Series. Myself, Jake Blackall, joining me as other Stephen Sandman-Clark. Sandman, I'm sure you had a good break.
Absolutely. I think out of all of us, Jake, I might have had the most rest. I think everyone's been busy with lots of series, lots of different racing and broadcasts around Australia. And so, I've actually been quite relaxed, but really pumped to be at Spa for round 5 of the Logitech G Supercars Pro Invitational. It's good to be back.
It is good to be back. And what is this series? Let's find out. That's right, the Logitech G Pro Invitational Series here once again for round 5 of the championship, coming from Spa-Francorchamps. Long race ahead, track's hot tonight, Sandman. A lot of these guys have not had a break, some of them have had a break, but I can't wait to see what these guys are going to do tonight.
Absolutely. I think the good part about, you said that some drivers have had a break and some not. It's good that these guys have been busy in the car, because it's easy if you step away from these cars where you lose that sort of, natural ability, I guess, to make these things go fast, because these things are tricky to drive on the iRacing service compared to some of the others. So it's actually good to have plenty of seat time, and we'll probably see who fares the most come sort of qualifying, I guess.
It's going to be a bit like that, and we'll go through those championship standings just to refresh your memory coming into tonight. Obviously, we've had a long break, so it takes a while to get back into the swing of things for this championship. Jared Filsell, dominating performance at Monza, literally was the class of the field there. Now in front by not about 70-odd points over Ethan Warren. Jake Burton has dropped down to 3rd with Maloney and our round 1 winner, Brady Myers, in 5th. Madison Down, though, creeped inside that top 10, and I'm sure he's going to be on a little big pump tonight heading into basically his rejoice of coming back, and let's see what he can do after winning the Supercars East Series. I'm sure, Sandman, he was ecstatic with that. And let's see how it translates at the moment. He's quick in practice.
Absolutely, and that's a stellar effort for people who may not have been all over this series at the start. Madison did miss the opening round, so to be in the top 10 coming into round 5, that's a heck of an effort. And like we touched on before, seat time is key, and for him to come off that E-Series championship, that's no doubt going to do him a world of good when he comes to Spa. So no doubt, we can already see the top of the timesheets at the moment as we see in practice, so it seems to be paying off so far.
Yeah, the two of them at the top of the standings. Down Kostecki, Down won the Pro. Kostecki won the All-Stars. They're both at the top. Not surprising how good those two are in a supercar. As we look at Madison Down, letting some guys through at the end of the practice session, roughly just over 5 minutes remaining. As we look at Ethan Warren, another touching point, and it's big news as we keep going through all this championship. Jared Filsell's teammate has been announced for the Enduro Series, and Sandman is none other than Dane Warren, the Coanda superstar. That's a really tough lineup.
It's huge, isn't it? Those two guys will be walking around the pits with a cape on their shoulders, wouldn't it? It's almost the dynamo team up. It's a great team up between Filsell and Warren, and they are going to be a force to be reckoned with come Enduro time. And I tell you what, all these other teams will be sweating it out, trying to work out how they're going to beat those two.
And that's right, especially, obviously, Dane didn't have a good run, but he was able to do well in the last 6 weeks, and he was able to show how good he is in a supercar. you've got to remember, he doesn't drive a supercar all that often, but he jumped in and was very quick, so I would not be surprised if he jumps in with Jared, and those two will be unstoppable. It's a shame, obviously, we can't see Jared and Kostecki together, but obviously he can't partner with another driver in the series, so it's one of those ones where it's going to work with. Maybe he might partner with Shane Van Gisbergen. He is one of our wild cards here tonight, is Mr. Van Gisbergen. Obviously, last season's defending Supercars Championship, currently leading the championship at the moment in the real life Supercars, and it'll be interesting to see how he gets on, because he's pretty handy behind the wheel in the sim.
Absolutely. So it'd be interesting to see actually who Kostecki teams up with. And I think that's a nice key, that you can't actually team up with someone that's already in the series. It's a bit like sort of real world supercars where you just can't pluck, you know, the other sort of A or B driver, I guess, if you want to call them, put them two together. So it's good. Widens the margin as far as people getting into the series, and certainly puts it on its head. So, you know, you've also got someone that's contending as part of your championship battle, and you're basically putting the seat, you know, in their hands to hopefully they can do a good job. But the beauty is now that they know that they've got that pairing, and they'll, you know, everyone will be able to sort of start to worry about on how much seat time they get in preparation for the big one.
That's right. They've got two big ones, obviously Sandown, which will be a mega race that they'll have to try and find out what they can do as we're on board with Brody Kostecki at the moment, just ending up this practice session. Looks like he's just getting set up, maybe to start a qualifying lap, maybe on a qualifying lap at the moment. Looks like he's pretty much pushing right now to see what he can pull out of his car with just over 3 minutes left. So it'll be his last run of this session. But another person, Rick Kuznetsov, he's joining us as well for the rest of this championship from Premier Racing Team. So it'd be good to see he gets on Sandman, because we know how good the caliber of drivers they are from Premier.
Absolutely. And does this racetrack sort of scare people a little bit? You know, we talk about, you know, how long this racetrack, it's the longest one on our series circuit. So, you know, having a racetrack like this to be the first race that they come into, it's really going to be interesting to see how they go. But, you know, at the end of the day, it all comes down to quali. So don't worry about what the timesheets say at the moment, but no worries to the fact that they've had plenty of seat time just to get themselves ready for tonight.
Yeah, I'm sure the 6 weeks would have been like a country mile for them just to practice at one track of Spa. Some of them obviously wouldn't have had that long, but those ones that did and were able to just put all their focus into this one round, they should be able to do quite well. And at the moment, it's showing down is obviously one of those class acts here, but Rivera, we had a little bit of insight from Brenton earlier saying that he was going to be quick, and he is up there. It's Kostecki, that lap that we were riding on board was quick. He goes straight to the top, only by 0.06 of a second over down.
It's pretty impressive, isn't it? There's such a big, long racetrack, as we touched on, and have that margin between the top, well, three. Have a look at that. Like, it's crazy. So, really good. But, you know, we don't know who's showing their hand and who's had a run. Like you said, Kostecki's just punched out a good one, and some of the other guys may not have had that chance yet too. So, yeah, some people may be playing their cards a little bit close to their chest as we head into quality.
And that's it. You don't want to give too much away. Like you said, it's a long race tonight. One race, 2 compulsory pit stop, 39 laps ahead of us. It's nearly the same length as the Grand Prix that was on the weekend. So, and we're in a touch slower car. And it's going to be a long, mentally taxing mini enduro sort of for these guys to get their head around. And Spa is hard. There's a lot of places where you can run wide, get an off track. I think that will be a talking point tonight as well. The tyres, they don't have a lot of grip as it is, Sam, man. They're going to drop off quite quickly, especially into the run with the temperature that we've got.
Absolutely. One thing I'm curious to see too, how it all plays out in quali, is how friendly are you with your teammates? Is you know, how much of a draft and a tow can you get around these long straights? You know, maybe take turns. You know, we saw with Phil Cell, you know, working with Kostecki there a couple of rounds ago, where they sort of give each other the draft and swap around and try to help each other out. But this will be crucial here at Spa.
Yeah, a draft lap will be crucial. You need to get a draft lap if you want to be inside that top 10. I don't think you'll be able to sort of be there or there or thereabouts. It's not a track where, okay, you're at minute 10 a lap. You know, you can, if you make a mistake, you can still be inside the top 10. You lose a 10th or 2, you'll still be roughly there or thereabouts if you don't get a tow. But there's such a long lap, 2 minutes and 17-second lap. There's so much little areas where you can gain that 10th, half a 10th, and it all adds up. Especially like those straights along here, you can get a good second, maybe half a second out of a good lap time with a draft.
And it's probably one lapping in, isn't it? Because I think we talked a little bit about tyre deg before the broadcast started. I don't know if you want to be a Dunlop tyre around here because, you do cop a fair bit of abuse. So it'll be interesting to see, it probably will be one lap and straight back home.
That's what I suspect they'll do. A lot of the drivers will be one lap and done. I think the fuel won't be an issue in the race either. I think it's all going to be about tyre management, who can manage that the longest over the race distance. But as practice ends, we head into qualifying back for the Logitech G Pro Invitational 20-minute session here, open qualifying, and it's going to be who can get the draft partner. As you look at those practice results, Madison Downey picked it back, got himself up to the front with Kostecki in second, with Rivera, Anderson, Ross, Phil Stanaway, Warren, Van Gisbergen, and Rosella rounding out the top 10 from practice. And let's see who's going to draft with who, Sammy? Because I think that's going to be what we're all looking for.
Yeah, it'll be sort of follow the leader a little bit. You'll probably see teammates, trying to find each other. Who does Giz play with? We see that we spoke about how Giz is a wild card entry for tonight, and there he is. So who plays with Giz? We all know that every time he races, he's fast in whatever he drives in. So people will be pretty keen to get a tow from him, no doubt.
That's it. And no matter what Shane jumps in on the sim, he is fast. So I don't think it'll be a shock that he'll be quick tonight and be somewhere up near the front. Who he plays with, who knows? He might jump in with Kostecki, he might jump in with some of the other guys. He has obviously diddle-dalled around in the supercar land before, obviously in the sim, so he does know some of these guys as well that he could jump off and try and see what he can do with the tows. You can see behind him, I think there was a little bit of a shot. The TTR guys were trying to partner up as they're currently 2 wide down into no name, trying to find themselves a little bit of I want to go no, you want to go no, we're 3 wide because why not?
Hey, do you put the Mustangs together? Do you put the Commodores together? That's what they're going to work out. So, but they probably would have already sort of planned this too before they came into quali. It's like, right, we're probably there or thereabouts. So I want to get someone who's, everyone's pretty equal in this team as it is, but they'll probably look at the times and say, people will maybe run better with a certain other driver. So maybe that's what they'll do, or maybe they'll just wing it. But I would imagine they would have thought about this before coming to quali.
Yeah, they will definitely have a game plan, as to say, but at the moment their game plan is Holden, Mustang, Holden, by the looks of it. So we'll see whether they switch it up. The hardest thing here as well, Sam, and you can set it up now, you can get yourself in a position. Obviously they're running not fast right now because you don't want to take that shine off the tyre, as they call it. You don't want to take that out of it. But you can't really set yourself up till the chicane. You basically, the last corner is when this is where I am, let's sort the gap now and then go.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's so tricky. I know you've probably been in this situation too, where you try and make the ideal lap and you team up with someone. Oh, look at this. Trying to split the middle. Richie Stanaway was in all sorts of trouble because people were checking up to start their lap and he almost nailed the back of him.
But this is exactly what I just said. You don't start setting up till the chicane. So people could just roll up to the chicane and go, I'm just going to stop here and put myself behind you, thank you very much, and get a tow off you. It nearly caused a massive accident. Thank God they actually all sorted it out to start their first flying lap. But that's exactly the situation that can happen here. The draft is so effective that they need it.
Yeah, absolutely. And what I was going to touch on too before all that schmozzle happened is that, you can ideally plan out a lap, but you can be following someone, and if they just make one little mistake, they want to push on with their lap, and you've made up a heap of ground. You see Van Gisbergen as he goes up through a Rouge. Now he wants to get that tow. He's probably nice enough position actually where he is to get that tow from Stanaway where it won't cause him any drama into the braking zone. So, but that's it. Just trying to get that bit right without your partner as such in front of you making a mistake.
That's exactly right. You got to make sure you don't do it. I know in TCR, with my TCR racing, as soon as you catch your teammate in a draft, especially in the TCR, you're like, okay, you need to move now. I'm on a really quick lap. The draft is so strong in those cars too, that you need to get the lap out at that time. You can't benefit of going, okay, no, I'm going to roll out, because you really can't. You just have to go with it. So at the moment, Brady Myers is the first car in the big long train. He doesn't actually have anyone behind him, so he's sort of in his own cushion of air, able to do what he wants to do. Our round 1 winner, Sam, and it feels like we haven't really talked about him much since then, has sort of done well, obviously been around inside that top 10, but he sort of benefited from that opening race craziness.
Absolutely. I'm just looking at his game plan that he's got at the moment. I think it's probably not a bad idea just to get that banker. Put something in the books to say, right, now we can have a bit of a go at trying to draft with someone, and if it all turns to pairs, then we don't have to worry about it. But if you can put down a banker, that takes a lot of pressure out of this. Like, we're already towards the 5-minute mark in this 20-minute session, and no one's banked a time yet.
That's right. It's a long lap just to do, okay, I have a 1X, I got to come in and restart anyway. So then you got another 3, 4, 5 minutes that you got to waste again just to get one lap in. So you're right, Brady's done the right thing. Just go out there, don't worry about anyone else, do your own thing. Try not to get an off track, which is so crucial around here. There's so many spots where you could just push that a little bit wide over the curb, and iRacing will give you an off track. That will invalidate your lap time. So he comes across the line. Will this be a indicative lap time of what he's able to do? I don't see a lap time, so from my end, he got an off track too. No, there it is, 2:18.4. Lap time comes up a little bit later than that start finish line. So Myers the first lap across, a couple of others, no lap times counting. Look like for Van Gisbergen as well.
Yeah, and I think the smart thing to do is as soon as they get that off track, just head straight to pit lane, put on a new set of tyres and go again, because there's no point pushing on with it once you get that 1X. And it's so easy to do sometimes at parts of this racetrack. We know the circuit in real life has gone through some changes, like this area here, there's gravel there now. So, you know, you can't go too wide there, but there are certain restricted zones on these racetracks where drivers do have to be mindful that they don't get those 1Xs.
That's exactly right. At the moment, Phil Sell currently in provisional pole as we watch Stenberg come into the pit lanes. He's scratched that lap, throw a new set of boots on and go again. But Phil Sell currently in provisional pole with Rivera. We mentioned him in practice, currently in P number 2. Anderson coming off what would be an amazing bit of recognition for him to win the Aussie Racing Car Championship the last couple of weekends around for him. So in his Cool Drive Mustang, as we bring him up right now, as they're getting ready to set up for another lap. But congratulations to him. It's a massive feat to win that championship.
Absolutely, a huge congratulations, an amazing achievement, and you know what, they've been happy in the old TTR stable of late, haven't they, with Anderson winning the Aussie Racing Cars, and we touched on that Madison Down won the Supercars E-Series, so those two bows are pretty chuffed with what's going on at the moment. But yeah, that racing, that style of racing is absolutely awesome to watch, and mate, he'd be stoked, and fingers crossed he's got some exciting plans for next year. You know, don't know what it is, but hopefully something good's going to come from that achievement, so well done.
Yeah, he definitely deserves it. Does a really good job to get that championship all sewn up. And like you said, that racing is that's another level of racing. I think we can all say that the Aussie Racing Car Championship really puts it on, and it would be awesome to have. Well, we do have something like that in iRacing, but a little bit more of the Aussie Racing Car variety would be pretty special. But might be a fair way off before we even get that. But yeah, amazing achievement from Josh to get that one done. As we look at the TTR boys setting themselves up, coming into the last chicane. This looks like they're just going to bail. Maloney looking, or is that Hampstead? One of them looking to the inside. As I say that, I think they're all going to bundle into the pit lane, and that they do.
Yeah. Looks like they've banked it now. We're just going to see who's on laps now, because everyone's sort of on mixed strategy now, because some people bailed and some people pushed on. So it's a crucial part of the lap now. We're almost coming up to the halfway mark, and it looks like, is that Stenaway straight back in?
Yeah, a couple of people coming straight back in the pit lane. Rip Kuznetsov, one of the new drivers, obviously joining us in this championship. He's going to be joining into the pit lane as well, and joining the rest of them come down, get a new fresh set of boots and go again for another lap. And I think that's going to be everyone, Sam, and I don't think we're going to have anyone that sort of is an outlier here. I don't think there's no need to go again for another lap.
Yeah, they spoke about tyre deg, and like you said, especially if you don't have anyone to draft with, it's just sort of, that's two nails in the coffin almost, you know. I mean, you can get a lap done without a draft, sure, but once you're sort of on older sets of tyres, then yeah, there's really no point. So it's all about getting in, having those new tyres, and doing that prep lap where you go as slow or as careful as possible on your out lap, not to take the goodness out of those tyres, and then push on with it.
Yeah, as we watch Andrew Gilliam, who's setting himself up for another lap right now. So he's currently in 5th position. Good job from Andrew Gilliam. Obviously, he competed as well in the E-Series, so he's done a lot of racing, but he did really well there as well. So, but let's see what he can do on this lap. Currently 5th, behind Madison Down in 4th. We've got Hobson in 6th with Warren, Burke, Myers, Maloney rounding up the current top 10 in qualifying. Just over 11 minutes, or just under, 11 minutes to go now of this session. Actually, Gilliam's going to pull it back in. That's an interesting one from Gilliam. It's obviously he was on an outlap, thought he would have been getting set to go. He looked like he was rolling around getting ready, but we go back to the TTR trade, and this time they're going through, and the car 201 has been towed without permission. Again, I think some of the guys may have forgotten after the 6-week break, they're not allowed to tow in qualifying.
Yeah, that's right. And I guess that's one of the things where, you know, so many different drivers compete in different series and everyone's got their own sets of rules. But of course, here in the Logitech G Supercars Pro Invitational, they have to request a tow from pit lane and, to race control. And if they don't get that, then obviously they have that penalty. So a bit of bad luck, but nevertheless, he can still plenty of time to bounce back. It's a long race.
Yeah, well, he's currently in 5th, so that was Andrew Gilliam. So that was why he pulled back into the pit lane. So that's a little blunder that you don't really want to do, especially when you're up inside the top 5 already. You know you've got that pace to maybe get a 10th or 2. It's easy to gain around you. It's such a long lap. A 10th or 2, it may seem big on the scoreboard, but it really isn't. There's a lot that you can bring that down. A couple of 10ths here on the timesheet. You can move yourself from 5th up a couple of spots. So that's unfortunate for Gilliam, obviously. Just, it's been a long time off. We've all had a long time off. It's one of those things where you just got to put yourself in that mode. So pretty poor from him in terms of that. He's going to be kicking himself over that. But Rosella coming up to the last corner, looks like he's setting up for a lap too. A lot of these guys will be all on out laps, getting ready for another flyer.
And I love that, just looking at those times, the top 20 covered by 8/10. So that's nice and close. And there's still going to be more to come, obviously, when we finish this last half of qualifying. But just over the halfway mark. But here's the onboard view. Love visor cam. Missed it over the last couple of weeks. This has been a talking point that's been new for our series, and everyone loves visor cam. So let's see what the action looks like from the driver's seat as they head to Eau Rouge.
Yeah, Eau Rouge and Radion obviously has been reprofiled, and well, it hasn't really been reprofiled, just been extended in real life. But look at the run, get over the top in a supercar. It's not really flat, so they make it look a little bit easier on an F1 car coming down the Kenmore straight into the com, and it is 6th gear, just coming up to 270 clicks. Banging hard on the brakes, down into 3rd gear. Try and take as much of the right-hand curve as you can. Same with the left. Let's just flow the car through this corner and try and get it nice and settled on the exit. You can run a little bit wide there. They've extended that track limit before Sandman now, where you can run just a little bit further wide. Now down into Ravage, it's done a really good job to get that thing stopped.
Yeah, the tricky one is getting that turn in too to try and miss that point. It's easy to run wide and through here, get too much curb there, can unsettle the car, get sideways there on the exit. A little bit taily, but nothing there to worry about. It's still not going to affect his time too much, but looks like it's fairly clean so far. Ride the ribble strips, nice tight line through here, because you've run out too wide. There's that fake AstroTurf or the green painted line there, and you don't want to get the car sideways and lose too much time there.
And while we're riding on board with Rosella, look at who is at the top of the timesheet. I missed that. Shane Van Gisbergen to the top. Please don't win here as well. We love you, but don't. Don't come in.
Look at the time.
That's what I mean. That time between him and Philsell. Wow, they're on it. And we said it, we mentioned it. He is quick. Anything he jumps in the sim, we know how good of a talent he is in any car. And he's just gone and shown it right there, straight to the top, Sam, man. And now he's like, all right, come and catch me if you can.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know there's people out there that do enjoy when they see real life drivers in series like this, when they get to race them, because it just lifts the game to another level. You know, we obviously know Van Gisbergen's quick and whatever he does, so having him in the series makes everyone else go, oh, you know what, still some time to find. Let's go.
Yeah, that's it. Exactly. It pushes everyone else to another limit that you sometimes don't even know you find yourself. You just get it. So as we watch these TTR guys, one of them into the pit lane, that looked like that could have been down. So Maloney and Hampstead, they're going to lead these through across the start-finish line. Maloney first, he's going to improve.
Yes.
He's going to go to P6, so good job from him. Hampstead moved up to 13th, which got beaten, I think, by Ethan Grigalt, so he's moved himself up another position. So a couple of these guys have improved. Marcelo Rivera, though, look at the purples on the timesheet. This could be straight to the top for the ERT driver. Let's see where he rounds that one out. No, just off.
Oh, look at the difference.
Third. Nothing in it between the top three. Under half a tenth and you're third.
Oh, that's crazy, isn't it? How good is that? I think we both died and took a big deep breath. We saw the purple sectors and thought, oh, hold on, we're on for something here. But man, missing it by point nothing. So looks like we've got another car 93. Looks like is going to not take any more action in part of qualifying. So another tow possibly. So it's catching a few people out.
Yeah, it is catching a few people out. And that's the thing, you have 6 weeks off, you could jump in and do a GT3 championship, a TCR championship, a Rallycross championship, and there's no escape rule in that championship. You actually lose that memory of, oh crap, this one I've got to not escape. You go, I can't do that anymore. So Griffin Gardner, currently 26, is now going to be 26. That's it. That's his session day and done. That's the best he can hope for. So it's one of those things that you just, the mental note. It's always a mental game. This is so many different factors, and that is one of them for this championship.
Mate, and so easy to do. Like, I've been guilty of it too, to the point where I've put paper on my escape button. I was like, you know what? Don't press that, because it can catch you out. It's so easy to do, especially when you're doing practice and testing around here, because you'll push on for a lap, and if it doesn't go right, you just head back to the box and don't worry about it. So it's easy to get caught up in that mindset. So I feel for them, but rules are rules.
That's it. Rules are rules. You got to follow them. Everyone's on the same rule book here, and you've all got to follow it. And that's another thing as well. The team should know. So a lot of people, I know I do, a lot of the times you have a spotter that will go, okay, remember, no escape, don't do it. So it's a bit of catch-22. It's a whole team aspect, that one, especially if you have other drivers in the team that know that that's a rule. You should be reminding each other. So, it's caught a couple of them out tonight. Hopefully they don't drop any further, but when you look at Gilliam, he's already 9th and he can't take any further. He was 5th.
Now watching everyone just dive into the final couple of corners. They're all deciding to peel off and put on some new tyres again, go again. 16-minute mark, so 4 minutes to go. So these guys that are in pit lane now are in, new set of tyres, slow out lap, and probably one more lap, and that'll be about it for them.
Yeah, I think this will be the last runs that we get, but at the moment, the current top 10, Shane Van Gisbergen with Jared Filsell, Marcelo Rivera, Brody Kostecki, Josh Anderson in 5th, Maloney down, Burke, Gilliam and Costello round out that top 10. As we look at down, he is on an outlap, and let's see what he can do. But a lot of these guys, I think, around him are as well, so we'll see. He's leading the train. Thought he would have been maybe looking for a toe to try and gain that 2/10, but maybe he thinks that he can do it, unless he's going to pit in. Yep. Nope. You jinxed me then. I thought he was going to come in a bit late.
Yeah, they might have been taking turns too. It's like, all right, I'll push and I'll lead this lap, and someone else's turn to lead the next lap. I don't know what strategy they've got going, but Madison at the moment, and look at the time that he needs to find. It's just over 2/10, so it's not a lot, but it's going to be tricky.
Yeah, I think it would be hard for him to try and gain it all by himself, but you never know. He could have done that lap by himself again. I don't think I've actually seen him behind anyone anyway. So it'd be interesting to see what he does. He had a really good overage up through Radion now, up over the top, down the Kenmore straight. We'll see what he does first sector-wise and see if he actually shows a number. But at the moment, as a couple of cars to the inside, are going to let them through, down, not even a personal best. So he's got a lot of time to find over this lap to try and improve from 7th.
Yeah, that's it. And that is, there's two sort of, I guess, huge crucial parts of this racetrack where the draft is sort of key, and that's sort of the first part of the lap and the last part of the lap. So now he's in the middle bit. He might be able to make up a little bit through the twisty bits, but it's a struggle. It's hard to see when we don't exactly know what the time was, but you're really pushing for that. Ideally you want a purple sector or green, as much as you'd like, but when it starts to go yellow, you've got your work cut out for you.
Yeah, that means you've got a lot of pushing and hard work, and it's gone yellow again, so he's got more work to do for the second part of this lap to try and see if he can get any improvement here. That's right up. A couple of cars off the trail. A couple of cars on the inside. I was going to say Stenberg's got a lot of traffic to try and work his way through at the moment. Got one of the SSR cars tucked right underneath, and that's not going to be helping him either, because there's not much they can do. You're right underneath the rear wing of Stenberg. Stenberg's virtually on a lap himself. He's not going to move out of the way and let him through, so he's just going to sit there and hope that he can get a good enough time out of it.
Oh, look at the traffic these guys have got to deal with too, right around the outside. Smart driving by everyone else in the series that just move. Oh, look, just see Stenny. Yeah. You see the pace around the outside. Will Stenny give it to him? No. He's like, well, I'm trying for a lap too. And this is what I spoke about earlier, that you don't want to get too close to these people, because If they make that little mistake or you're just that little bit quicker, at the end of the lap, you're going to try and make a move and then it just starts getting ugly and now everyone's lap's ruined.
Yeah, this is ugly. Freya, Ben Smith, they both got too close to Kurt Stenberg. That cost them all laps there. Dowd actually improved from his lap. Really good lap time from Madison Dowd. Moves himself up into P number 4. That's a good job from the E-Series champ to get the job done, move himself up another position. He has 1 lap left in it to see if he can improve, but he's got a lot of work to do by himself on a second lap of those old Dunlops as the rest of the field come across to start and finish some of their laps.
Yeah, and the beauty about it, you know, he's in a good position. P4's not too bad. At the end of the day, it's a long race. We spoke about how long this race is going to be, and, you know, you don't ideally have to start on pole. I mean, if you start on pole and get through turn 1 first, there's a good chance you won't be first at the end of the straight.
Yeah.
You know, who knows? But, you know, 4th isn't too bad. It's when you're sort of 14th, 24th or 34th. That's probably when you start scratching your head.
We need the old school DTM DRS on the supercar. Let's see how that plays out down the straight. I think that would be a little bit interesting to see how these guys would handle a DRS on the back of a supercar as we watch them coming up through Eau Rouge. That's over the top of Radion. That is such an awesome corner. It's crazy, and like a couple of the people said over the weekend, it looked like it had actually changed the profile, but no, it's the same.
Yeah, and mate, what a race, you know, to see, you know. I would absolutely love just one day just to be there in real life and stand in that position to see cars just go flat out through there. That would just be something, that would just be mind-blowing.
It's one of those tracks that you just want to go to experience. I think it's like Spa, Monaco would be one as well if you had $1 million lying around. And then obviously I think Le Mans and Nürburgring, I think the other 2 that you put up in that upper echelon, besides Bathurst obviously, but we're all here.
Absolutely.
So, I feel like some of those tracks would be like, nah, I want to go and see, and this is one of them. But we're lucky enough to have it on the iRacing service to be able to put it here in a Logitech G Supercars Pro Invitational and race supercars around it that we don't often maybe ever get to do. So it's cool to see. Currently at the moment, Phil Selbank, Gisbergen, the 2 at the top, they are trading. We watch Burton down in 17th. That's not going to help his championship standings at all. He needs to try and find anything out of this lap.
Absolutely. We see the checkered flags falling on quali, so it's everyone who's now on a lap. They'll finish these times, but it doesn't look like anyone's lighting up the timing so much that it could be pressure for Van Gisbergen. So it looks like he might be safe, but we'll wait and see because you just never know coming into the last couple of corners what could happen.
Let's see what Burton does. He is on a decent lap. If he can try and finish this lap off, he's got Kuznetsov behind him. Phil Sell goes to the top though. He moves himself up into P number 1. Ethan Galt moves up into 8. Burton up into 4.
Wow.
Rivera to pole.
Oh.
The ERT boy stole it by 0.2 of a second. That's a lap time. That's a stamp on qualifying for Rivera.
How good's that? We were just saying, didn't look like there was too many lighting up or exciting the timesheets, and then bang, everyone's just pumped out. And I said, well, I should wait till the last couple of corners. I'm so glad I said that, but well done. What a lap. And that's put Van Gisbergen 3.5 tenths almost now off pole.
Yeah, wow, he had it sewed up until those last couple of laps came in, and it's that last sector, the draft from that last sector, and Rivera straight to the top gets the job done. At the moment, provisional pole, while we wait to see if anyone else is on the lap, but I don't think so. So I think we can lock that one up as an ERT pole, and let's see if anyone else. I think they're all just rolling around, Sandman. I think that one can be caught.
It's amazing how it changed. I was looking at the top 20 before. I said that it was sort of 8 tenths, and then it got to 6 tenths, and then it's gone back out to sort of almost a second. So it's amazing just how much all those times changed just in those last dying minutes of quality. Everyone's having a red hot go, and mate, some of them saved their best to last, and Rivera just snatches pole. How good's that?
It's crazy to think right at the death to get that lap. This is like a celebratory lap for him to bring the car back around. He's got pole, boy. Yep, 0.2 of a second over Jared Filso, who has been the dominant person in this championship to be able to get it done.
So there it is. I reckon we can call it.
Yeah, we can. I think that is
Rivera's done it.
Rivera has done it, and that will be pole position for Marcelo Rivera for round 5 of the Logitech G Supercars Pro Invitational for Evolution Racing Team. I was getting there. Jared Filsell will be on his outside up front wherever we bank. He's Bergen in third. Burton down to Steck. Burke, Anderson, Maloney and Ethan Grigol rounding out the top 10 as we get ready for what's going to be a mega 39 laps here at the Spa-Francorchamps. And we'll get ready with the pole position interview. It's such a crazy lap for the grid walk here with Marcelo Rivera, and we'll bring him in, Sam Mann, and you'll have the privilege of talking to none other than our pole sitter here for today, Marcelo Rivera.
As he joins us in the commentary box, Marcelo, congratulations. That Logitech G Commodore looked pretty good, mate. Come out, Spa, put it on pole. Well done.
Thank you very much, guys. Yeah, it was a great lap, to say the least.
Mate, what were your expectations coming into this race? I know some people love, I guess it's a track that's love or hate. It's such a fast, long racetrack. What were your thoughts and what sort of expectations did you set yourself coming into tonight?
Well, for me, expectations is normally just top 10. I have been threatening to put in some really good results lately, but overall, to be honest, I don't think about the position that I want to aim for too much. Just focus on my driving because I still feel like I've got a lot to improve on. So, yeah, just put my head down and go for it. Really, that's all I really do.
So, no doubt, best starting position on the grid. And how do you sort of calculate in your mind 39 laps now? Have you got sort of a strategy, or do you sort of let the first couple of laps play out and then talk strategy with the team after that?
Yeah, we do have a strategy that we're going to try to go for, but like you said, things can change in the race, so we'll play it by ear as the race unfolds.
Well done, mate. No doubt you'd be pretty chuffed with that. It's a good start, and hopefully we're talking to you at the end of the night, but until we talk to you later, well done and congratulations on pole position.
Thanks, mate. I'm shaking you.
Well done.
Yeah, well done to Marcelo Rivera on what was an outstanding pole lap to get the job done. But on his outside, it is the championship leader on that front row, and it is Jared Filsell. Jared, what a lap as well by you. Put yourself up there. You beat Shane, and then Marcelo came and beat you back, but good job to be on the outside of the front row.
Yeah, thanks. I'm happy to be up this far, to be honest. I've only done 13 laps of practice, so I'm happy to be in the show.
Well, you don't want to say that to everyone else, but, awesome job anyway to get it up here. How do you feel like you're going to tackle this one? It's a long race, 2 pit stops. Tyre wear is going to be the big factor. I don't think anyone's going to be worried about fuel. Obviously, you put on however much you put on to get track position, but how are the tyres? How do you feel like you're going to tackle that?
Well, I've done no laps, so I don't know. Yeah, hopefully we've got a good setup underneath us, but yeah, definitely the tyres are going to be the talking point in this race, given it's so hot. So hopefully we can consolidate position or move forward, albeit one position. But yeah, it should be an interesting race with a few of the quick boys up the front here.
Yeah, how do you feel about having all these other quick guys up around you? It's obviously, like you said, you've done not a lot of laps, but you're in that championship position of leading the points. You're obviously, it's still big picture, it's a long way away, but you don't want to let anything go without a drop round. Is that still playing on your mind a little bit?
Yeah, there's a few people up here that aren't really in the championship hunt for whatever reason, whether they've missed the race or whatnot. So, yeah, they're gunning for race wins and pride. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. Hopefully, hopefully we can just consolidate position here, and we'll see where we end up at the end of the night.
Well, hopefully you can consolidate and maybe move that one extra position forward, Jared, and hopefully you have a good race there in the Boost Mobile Commodore.
Yeah, cheers, thanks.
Yeah, and that is none other than our outside front row of Jared Filsell, and Sam Mann, you'll be with Brady Kostecki starting down in 6th position.
Yeah, from one SSR Boost Mobile to the other. Brady, how was it, mate? Coming into Spa, did you sort of meet expectations, or you wanted to be probably 4 or 5 spots higher?
Yeah, it would have been like to be a bit higher. Didn't really get a lot of time to sort of prep for this round, but I really enjoy Spa, so yeah, it should be a pretty exciting race. It's going to be really close and condensed, so yeah, we'll see what happens at the start here, and yeah, I'm sure it'll be real exciting.
Are you looking forward to it, mate? 39 laps, or are you sort of cursing that figure? It's a long way around here.
Yeah, it is actually a long way around here. gonna turn the fan on and make sure I got the cool suit plugged in and make sure I don't overheat for this, you know, for the long stints. But no, it should be a really good race. So just have to make sure we conserve the off tracks for the end if we're still alive, and then go from there.
Now, we all talk about, you know, this turn one and up through Eau Rouge and everything else. How do you sort of play out the start? I guess you've already got sort of a mindset as far as how you'll get off the start and all the rest of it, but does it sort of hold your breath for that first part of the lap?
Yeah, I think after turn one at the start, I'm just gonna hold the foot flat and sort of work out which holes appear and try go for them. So yeah, we'll see what happens. But yeah, it'll be pretty tricky to get through a rouge at the start. There's a lot of aero wash, you know, for the first couple of laps when the tyres are cold. So yeah, we'll just have to play it by ear and see what happens.
Well done, mate. Good start position. Stay out of trouble, and hopefully we're talking to you at the end of the night.
Thanks, man.
Cheers, Brody. So now we head a little bit further down. Jake, where you've got Rainer Costello.
That I do, starting in P number 12 for tonight's action here from Spa, and it's Rainer Costello. And the other ERTs, we've got two SSR Boost Mobile cars, we've got two ERT cars. How do you feel about this one, Rainer? Obviously, a little bit further back than maybe you wanted, but could be a little bit better. You're just on the outside of the top 10, maybe try and push yourself in the race.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with P12. Just got quite a nice draft in qualifying. Didn't quite maximise the lap itself, but yeah, I'll just be aiming to make it through that first lap cleanly tonight and see how we go.
Was draft critical in qualifying? I think everyone mentioned it, that without a draft lap you're going to be nowhere. Was that really, obviously, like you said, you didn't maximise the lap, but the draft basically put you where you are?
Yeah, that's it for tonight. Especially around here, I think everyone was playing that draft game in qualifying with the big bunch ups at the last corner. But yeah, I think the draft definitely helped me on my lap. I wasn't quite prepared. I hadn't done enough practice with draft laps and getting that right to sort of know how to place a car behind another car. But yeah, the draft did help in qualifying.
How do you feel like you'll go in the race? Obviously, there's a couple of ERT boys out there, especially Marcelo now on pole. How do you feel like the race setup is underneath you boys to be able to get a good result?
Well, Brad's been working on the setup throughout the week, so I've bolted that on and done a few 10-lap race runs, so should be good. The race pace is looking nice, and as long as we can look after those tyres, we should be good.
Oh, well, that's good to hear. Hopefully you boys can have a really strong race after a good qualifying result, and hopefully you can finish inside the top 10. We'll speak to you after.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. And that was Rainer Costello starting down in P number 20 for the end of our grid walk. And that is the field ahead of ourselves tonight, as we will go through the grid sandman of what is going to be a crazy 39 laps here. Marcelo Rivera on the front row with Jared Filsell lining up alongside Shane Van Gisbergen and Jake Burton on row 2. That's just a lightning show waiting to happen there in a turn number 1. Madison Down, Brody Kostecki with Wayne Burke, Josh Anderson, Jake Maloney and Ethan Grigbolt rounding out the top 10 with Andrew Gilliam, Rainer Costello on row number 6 as we look further down the field with Jordan Ross, Ethan Warren, Brenton Hobson and Richie Stanaway on row number 8, Richard Hampstead with Brady Myers on row number 9 with Luke Rosella and Benjamin Smith on row 10 as the rest of the field goes through on your screen. And Sandman, we're getting close to a start, about a minute and a half away. How do you feel like this one's going to go? The draft's going to be a key factor, I think, all race.
Absolutely. I get excited. I mean, I love doing my commentary, and I don't do a lot of racing, but every time I start to see the grid roll around and everyone's on the grid and everyone's talking about the start, I'm like, oh, geez, I'd love to be in there, because I reckon this is where you hold your breath. You fire into turn 1. You try to get the power down as quick as you can, grab whatever draft you can, and just see how you go on the end of it all. But, mate, I love it. I'm excited for him, and I wish I was in their seat.
I think we all do. How do you feel about... who's your pick? How do you feel about this one? Because there's a lot of quick guys. I reckon it could actually be Burton or Down. They're in sort of that, if these guys trip up over themselves, they could sort of stitch away. But how about you feel there inside that top 10?
Mate, I don't know. You know what I'd do if it came down to putting money on it? I'd probably grab the top 6 or 8 drivers, put them on a piece of paper, throw it up in the air, catch a piece of paper, and say, all right, that's who I'm going to pick.
Yeah, that's a fair game. That's a fair game. We've got roughly 20 odd seconds before these guys get that green flag, and we'll get underway. Rivera, Filsell, front row. I feel like the fireworks are going to come from Van Gisbergen and Burton on row 2. We know Gizzy, like Filsell said, there is people around him have either missed a race, aren't in the championship hunt around him at the moment, especially Rivera and obviously Van Gisbergen. They are not in this. They are in it to win. As we get ready for the race start, the revs build for round 5 of the Logitech G Supercars Pro Invitational here from Spa. And let's see how they get away off the line. And it is a clean start out in front. A little bit of a slow getaway from a couple of cars in the background. But Marcelo, good jump, good initial launch, leads themselves into turn 1.
Mate, perfect, wasn't it? He got the foot down properly, didn't get any wheel spin, and he had plenty of room going into turn 1. So, and that's what these guys will be key on now. They just want to get single file. You don't want to throw away, have a silly crash when you come into this part of the racetrack. So fast, everyone's keen to get a lap in, and they want to get that draft and trying to make the most of it, but don't do anything stupid at the same time.
They don't want to make a mistake here, especially through a Rouge and Radion. You don't want to get a lap 1 slowdown will hurt yourself. And here's the train down the Kemmel straight.
Oh, they're not going to be 3 or 4 wide, surely.
Here we go. Burton's having a look. Fuel cell with Gisbergen on the inside. Gizzy's going to back out of that one. Thought better of it. Oh, a little bit of contact there. It was actually Rainer Costello in the background. That was Richie Standaway. Standaway was off in the dirt. I think Andrew Gilliam was off as well. Couple of cars off in the I think that's
hard
Richie
in the tyres too, by the looks of it.
Yeah, I think he's actually stuck in the. This could be a safety car.
Oh, he is.
He's stuck.
He's not getting out of that. That's cruel. Oh, that's unreal. Like, this is exactly what we were talking about. And look at the start that Rivera's got.
Wow.
He's gapped him. But if this calls a safety car, that'll be all over for that gap. But that's in a bad spot. So that is just heartbreaking when it happens on the first couple of corners.
And Rivera, he won't be wanting a safety car. If this gets called a safety car, look at his gap. He's already pulled out 8/10 of a second. He can let himself sort of get into a rhythm, not worried about what's going on behind him. And it all happened down at, obviously, after the Kemmel straight down to Lacombe. Gisbergen just had his nose on the inside of Fuel Cell, and it made Fuel Cell hesitate from turning in. And it allowed Marcelo just to have a clear run through all that part and then down into Ravage and No Name and get away. But here they come with the second bite at the cherry of the draft.
Mate, he would have been absolutely pumped looking at his rearview mirror and seeing those guys going 3 wide. He's like, yes, like this is what I need. So he can just hit his markers, just push on and open up that gap and see 7/10 already. So, but Phil on that won't be too concerned because they're in that draft train now. So they'll be able to draft back up to him. They'll be able to, see how their car's feeling. And of course, the very first lap, it's always someone, who's having a red hot go, and there's other people that'll just sort of be taking their time. So nothing to worry about at this stage, but definitely the perfect start for Rivera.
It just takes that added stress off of the first lap. I feel like, especially you get pole by 2/10 to mind you. Like, it was a great lap, but you just have a little bit of nerves. Like he said, he was a little bit nervous getting ready for that one. He knows it's crucial to be out in front to get the clear air, and he's done a good job. But now here comes that draft train. It's not a DRS train, it's a supercar train, and this one's got a hold and punch in the air up in front of it, and the rest of them are all following through it. At the moment, they are all in that train, and no one can really break out.
Right, for the moment, and they're probably not. You don't want to do anything silly. We've already seen how easy it is just to have. You see, look how powerful the draft is, where you make the wave around the outside. But you don't want to have any silly contact on lap 1 or 2 because that just makes your day go from bad to worse. So we already see there's some cars under investigation. Car 707 with contact with 951. So the stewards are already busy at this stage, but thankfully it looks like we've avoided that safety car.
Yeah, we avoided the safety car. There's a couple of these guys, Luke Mitchison, having a good old battle here with Jack Boyd. He's going to look to the inside. He's there. He got the nose there.
But he's on the wrong side now.
Yeah, now he's on the outside for No Name. Is he going to hold it around the outside of turn 9? Oh, Mitchison gave him a lot of room.
That's respect there, isn't it?
That's respect. A lot of respect, but good, clean driving to get the job done. Warboy's now having a look to the outside, and he's going to slot him behind.
That's it. And it's one of those things, isn't it? You pick your battles, you pick the mountain you want to die on, so to speak. Lap number 2, you don't want to do anything too crazy. Just give up the spot and you'll be able to bring it back later. So good, smart racing by all those guys.
This is the thing, like we were talking about, the draft is so critical as we look. Boyd has actually gained 9 spots already on lap 1. So he's moving. He's flying through this field, is Jack Boyd. Now he's going to try and see if he can catch onto the back of Benjamin Smith, the Evolution Racing Team driver, and try and pull himself up to that next gap with that train in front of him, which is that gap out the front, 4/10 of a second. Phil Self is closing in on Rivera out in front.
That's the one thing I do find interesting when you look at that live timing split, to see the difference between the two cars, is where it closes up, where it stretches out, and of course how much that changes when we come to the long straightaways. But Marcelo, he's got his work cut out for him. Jared's sort of there or thereabouts. He's starting to put that little bit more pressure on him, because it's easy. You know, you don't even have to worry about trying to make a move. You can just be close enough and try to get someone to make a mistake in front of you, and you know that makes it so much more easier instead of trying to make a dive move up the inside.
Yeah, exactly. You just need to just sit there in the mirror. He's going to know you're there, and you know with the draft, pull this gap in. That's what he's going to do right now. Coming up through Eau Rouge, coming up the back. One shot down into that Eau Rouge section. And an awesome part of the racetrack. I think we can all say it's one of those ones, like you said, Sam. Just put yourself right on the inside of that corner, and I think you'll have a lovely time there watching cars go past, especially the F1. But here we go. And Phil Sell, again, like you said, just managing it. He doesn't need to try anything silly. He's just going to slot in, and that's Maloney, sorry, going to slot in behind Ethan Morin as well. There's no need to try anything. Save some fuel, save some tyre life, and put yourself into a good position later on in the race. And as I say that, because that's on down the inside of Warboys, it's going to put him on the wrong side of that. It's going to get that position.
Crossover.
Oh, it blocked it.
Oh, smart. Yep. Because he would have been a sit and duck if he'd have got that crossover done, but then here you don't want to dive too wide because then a crossover can happen again. But smart heads-up drive, and he covered that line because he knew that if he gave away that inside position, it'd be trouble for the next turn. So good heads-up racing.
There's no further investigations between those two cars, 707 and 951. So that was Tom Freer and Sean McNamara. So they have been cleared of any wrongdoing at turn 1, lap 1. As we move ourselves back to the front, Rivera out in front of Jared. Phil Self sort of left Izzy behind. And let's see what they can do as we look at the standaway incident on lap 1 as we go back to a replay. And standaway, is that Brady Myers? It is Brady Myers on his outside. Was that with him? Because I'm pretty sure I saw someone else end up in the dirt out there as well. It was. Contact with Myers. He was there. He tried to turn in, but there was a car there, and Richie ended up in the fence.
Yeah, it's one of those things that we deal with in online racing. I don't know if there was net code or anything there with it, but looked like there was a little bit of a gap between the two. But yeah, that's heartbreaking and not ideal for either of the drivers. No one wants to be caught in anything like that. But now we look at the front and look at Madison down all over the back of that car number 8 of Burton. So these guys, nose to tail, were ex-teammates at BJR a couple of weeks ago in the Supercars E-Series, but now they're sort of fighting hell for leather for overall position. So, you know, they're battling for 4th and 5th now and just keeping an eye on that train in front of them.
Yeah, they've got Kostecki as a watching brief as well behind. He's just sitting there, and Josh Anderson as well in his cool drive Auto Parts Mustang, I should say, as he now comes up through Eau Rouge and ready on. See how much, watch this draft effect that he's going to get at the back of Kostecki here down the Canmore Straight. And he's just going to, it's like a toe hook. He's just reeling him in. And this is with a draft from Kostecki. Kostecki has 2 cars in front of him. They're just getting a toe off.
Down's got started by the looks of it.
Yeah, looks like Down. He's gotten around. But, yep, so switching positions there between the two, I should say teammates but non-teammates. And yeah, however you want to look at it, but still teammates. So as Madison Down moved himself back up into the P number 4.
Yeah, and that would have probably all been down to the draft. It's just, you know, getting that position, and we were talking about, you know, how crucial it is and how much of an advantage it is. But it also turns into a little bit of a DRS train. We joke about that with Formula One, that sometimes everyone's got that draft. But look at that gap there, and look at the gap that Van Gisbergen's got now. He's really opened that up with that, because obviously Down and Burton were fighting. So he's got himself a little bit of air, and now he's got eyes forward and closing in that gap with Phil Sell and Rivera. Yeah,
see what he can do with that. Old shades of Mark Scaife livery on that car. I love the livery. It is a cool little throwback to one of the most iconic liveries, I think we can say, whether it was on the Holden, whether it was on the Nissan GTR. It has been around the world, that car, in terms of livery wise. But he's done a really good job right now, like you said. Just put himself in a nice little air bubble. He doesn't need to worry about a car behind, doesn't need to worry about a car in front of him, but he's not lost that toe as Warboys and Mitchelson on again. Mitchelson looked like he was sideways coming out of turn 14. Now he's going to look to the outside, and do we really want to play this on lap 4? We saw what happened on the weekend. We don't want to play games down here. As no, he thinks better of it, so it's back in.
Yeah, smart driving. It looked like a little bit of nose to tail. That might have been braille for a little bit faster. Can you let me past? I don't know. But yeah, that's what we love about these supercars racing. They don't mind a little bit of different barge and a little bit of nose to tail action. So they've all survived. They're pushing on. So let me see how they go now going through the next couple of turns.
Yeah, see, but he's just put away good drive traction from Blake Warboys to keep that position and move himself up. I think that's behind. I think that's Stenberg, pardon me, having a little bit of a battle, looking to the inside. It is Hayden Harrison into turn one of Lee Ellis, sorry. Stenberg's actually the car behind them, so this looks like a little bit of a feisty battle going on here. Is Stenberg having, don't do it steady. You heard the feather. You heard the feather. A little bit of roll out of that. Oh, I won't do it. It's lap 5. I think if it was lap 38 maybe, but this is lap 5.
Geez, I don't know. I don't think I've ever been that brave to go through there side by side in a supercar. I think I tried once going through there pretty quick. Oh, these guys are battling now. You see now Steady's going to try and move around the outside. Is he going to get the job done? He's going to clear him. Yeah. Nice work.
Good job from Steady. Oh, as we say that.
Oh,
throws it off in the dirt. And now he's going to rejoin. Good rejoin though, kept it back on and got it going. Stenberg, he's still there on the outside. He's going to fight tooth and nail because now he's going to be a little bit angry that he dropped it off the road. So now he's going to be trying fired up to try and get that position back. He's going to try and slot into the air gap in front of Bradford Vale, and he's done that. And a good job to try and regain what could have been a lot more position loss.
Sorry, Steady, I think I owe you a drink after that. I might have given you a bit of commentator's curse, but he'll bounce back. That's all right. He didn't lose too much. It's obviously he'd be kicking himself, but look, at the end of the day, the car's still straight, and that's all that's important.
I'm glad you were the one that commentated, Curse. You can buy that beer because I think he deserves that one. But we watch back Jamie Dyke for Fishy Motorsports. These guys, it's funny, we all say that how competitive this series is. This is for 30th, mind you. These guys are fighting tooth and nail on that fight for 30th. These guys, throughout this field, there is always battles. These guys are the best. And out in front, like we said, back to another battle. It's just constant like that in this series.
Absolutely. We always say sometimes, you know, that sometimes there's not enough cameras to catch all the action because regardless of where you are up and down the field, it's great racing. And you know what, 30th isn't nothing to be, you know, snarly about. There's people that are desperate to get in this series. And I know even if I was in this series, I wouldn't be 30th.
No, exactly. 60th,
same. Yeah. 60 or 70th.
I'd be in the pit lane already somewhere. I'd be getting the barbecue ready for the boys. I think that's where I'd be. I definitely wouldn't be up there. Yeah, there's, like you said, Sam, there are people trying to get into this championship. So to be down the back and having that close of a battle just shows the caliber of drivers in this field throughout.
I love this part of the racetrack now. Is he going to set him up? Fulso's close now. It's sort of, you can see that time in the right top left-hand corner. It's now sort of inside just over a tenth. Will he make a move up the inside? Will he think about it? No, he's just going to sit. So maybe he's just looking after his car, looking after his tyres and just thinking about that pit stop. They'll obviously have that in the back of their mind of what lap they're going to come in on an ideal strategy. You don't know about safety cars and everything else, but they'll have a number in their head that they want to get to. So at the moment, he's like, well, do I need to push? Do I need to get out in front? Because that just means he can save a little bit more fuel. He can probably go a little bit longer. Not that you want to go too long on the old tyres, but at the end of the day, he's just looking after himself and he doesn't have to worry about pushing too hard.
Well, that's the thing as well. He doesn't have to make a call on his own, if that makes sense. He doesn't have to. He can just sit there and save as much fuel as he wants, and then when Marcelo jumps in the pit lane, he can jump if he has to. If he doesn't want to pit the same lap, he can go an extra lap. If he wants to undercut him, he can do that. And he saves some fuel and tyres in the process, and he doesn't need to be out in front. If he knows Rivera's holding him up, I'm sure he would have pulled the trigger and said, no, I'm going now. Like,
yep.
Phil Sell is smart enough to know that, okay, this pace is good. I'm not getting caught from behind. Obviously, Bengisberger's catching him a little bit, but not a second a lap, 2 seconds a lap, where he's like, okay, you're holding me up now, I need to go. So
yeah.
He's playing it smart. And that's what a lot of these guys are very smart like that. They will know that, okay, they're not holding me up. Same with Burton and Down. They switch positions. Have they swapped back? No. Bertram and Down was like, all right, mate, I need to get in front. I need to, like, let's pull ourselves up a little bit. That's what they did, because now Burton has been dropped off the back of Down and he's got Kostecki for the company.
Yeah, and these guys will be thinking about and calculating what sort of rubber they've got left for them to go the distance, because if you're saving that tyre, when they pit, you can push. And like you said, like that talk with Phil Sell is that he'll always sort of evaluate where he thinks he's faster on the racetrack when Rivera is. So if he decides that Rivera will pit, he may push on just for that little bit lap and may try the overcut. But at the end of the day, you can see the Boost Mobile making a move up the inside of Burton. Got the job done nice and clean on exit. So there he goes, Kostecki now, just putting the foot down and getting past Burton.
Yeah, good move there from Kostecki, but now Burton will have the draft down the Keppel straight. So, you rolled out of it. Yep, he said to himself, whoa, he was a little bit wider than I think he would have wanted. The car stepped sideways down the bottom of the hill. Now he's got a good run though, over the top. Is he going to make a move or is he just going to bump draft Kostecki? No, it's a train, but Anderson's like, I'm drafting no one. Then I'm going to have a look to the inside. He's going to keep his nose there.
That was close.
They're still side by side. Anderson's not going to give this up. He's going to go around the outside, which turns into the inside for turn number 7. Down into remark.
He's going to get freight train.
Yeah, here it is, but he needed to make the move because Anderson is now going to pounce. Looking to the inside, ran him a little bit wide than I think Burton would have wanted him to. Gave him not a lot of room as Burton's going to give it one back.
Look
down
at
into no name. Look at this. Good racing between the boys. Anderson.
There's been contact. It's hard into the barrier. He might have got away with it too. Either good goal. Wow, that was close. Did he get any damage? The car looks pretty straight. Little bit of damage to the rear. Hopefully he got away with that, but man, that could have been ugly.
It was like the wheels just interlocked on the exit of the corner. If you watch a free play back on the right. So Anderson's just escorted Burton a little bit wider, which has given him a good straight line off of turn number 8 down to Remarch. And down into no name, there was a little bit of contact, but he got the job done. And then coming off the corner, was it wheel to wheel? It could have been wheel to wheel. A little bit of net code maybe involved as well, but man, they're lucky to get away with that. That could have been both cars scattered across the track.
Absolutely. So hopefully there's not too much damage. He'll sort of be evaluating that in his head at the moment. He'll sort of have an understanding of, but at least it's tracking straight. It doesn't look like there's too much damage to the front because, like we've been talking about all broadcasts, aero is key around here. So if you damage that front up, you could be in big trouble. But how's this? The top 4 now really closing up. It's within 1.5 seconds now for the top 4.
Yeah, Gizzy is sort of brought down with him, hasn't he? Down once he got around Burton. I know there's been a little bit of shambles behind him, but before that, Down got around him and just slowly reeled in Gizzy, who was slowly been reeling in Phil Sell. Phil Sell's just chilling behind Rivera while they run laps. So I think, and look at Kostecki now that he's gotten clear of that little gap. He's in his own little air bubble that he could try and pull onto the back of these boys. So it could be a 5-car train out in front.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be too long. Kostecki looks like he's pushing too. So looked like maybe at that time, but Burton was sort of just holding the guys back. I think Down sort of felt that his car was probably a little bit faster, managed to get the position and pull away. And the same with Kostecki. So yeah, I don't think it'll be too long before Kostecki's up there, and then who knows how the rest of it all starts to play out.
Yeah, that's the one thing. How are these guys going to play it? Maloney and Hampstead once again switching position by the looks of it with their draft. But Hampstead now back in front of Maloney. As we look a bit further back, it's Andrew Gilliam on the inside of Jack Boyd, who has been gaining a lot of positions. Gilliam to his outside. This is Ben Smith now going to see what he can do. Is he going to try to switch back and go to the inside of Gilliam, who nearly made contact with Boyd? But they've all survived again. We don't want contact down here again. As Blake Boys throws it down the inside. There's an ERT car. This is round 2 all over again. Here we go again, boys. Ben Smith on the inside of Warboys was on his outside. He actually rolled out of that and let Ben Smith continue.
I do love that part of the racetrack where they're all sort of crossing over. They're trying to crisscross each other, get to the inside, swap to the outside. Like, I just love it. You can see where they're trying to set each other up. Really interesting. I love the mindset of these guys when they try to take that part of the racetrack. A little bit wide back there. Wow, you don't want to go too much wide. He's got time up the inside. Big move under brakes. Well done.
Good aggressive move. Got it stopped too. I thought he was going to open. He did a really good job on the brake there. He did Rick Kuznetsov. Got the job done. Moved himself home to P number 22 past Luke Ditchinson. And again, another battle for down in P20 odd, but they're lining it up down here. But that was a good, hard move as you look at that replay. And you'll see them. They ran wide, Sandman, and then he went, no, I want this spot.
Just trying to see where he sets his car up. Look at him just push, and then he's like, a little bit of crossover, throw it up the inside, dive late. Bang, gets the job done.
Good, hard, clean racing. Got the job. A little bit of a bump on the exit, but that's touring car, right? You see, that's what this is for.
It's friendly fire. Don't worry about that.
Nice move. Bang, here you go. Hope I didn't fire you off the next corner, but we're good. As Gilliam gets around Jack Boyd, I think that is job done for him. Move himself up. Boyd was actually a little bit loose. Maybe he's used up the tyres. He has gained 10 spots on the opening part of this race. Oh, Smith, I thought he was going to die, but he shown the nose.
Yes, so did Boyd.
Yeah, I think
he was
Boyd
definitely thinking that.
Here it comes. Here comes the dive, but like, he thought better of it. He realises that, you know, there is a long straight up here that I can just use my DRS. I'll just chuck the wing off and we'll get it done. As he's going to set himself up behind there. So it's a little break there from Boyd. Actually, it helped him. That dab of the brake got the car turned in just enough through turn 3. The middle of Rouge and Radion to get the run up the hill. Gilliam gone full defensive on the inside. Good spot to ride on board with Ben Smith. And he breaks early just to let them all go back into the track.
That's it. You know, you let the battles up front sort of play out, and sometimes you can capitalise on their misfortune. But everyone was pretty smart. But look at this. Now Down has managed to get past Van Gisbergen, so he's got a bit of pace on board of that TTR Commodore. So he hasn't been holding back. He's sort of pushing. He's thinking now he's pretty happy with his car at the moment. They'll be thinking about pit stops soon, and he's been pretty happy to push on. And now he's found himself in the top 3.
Now he's just going to try and get those two in front of him, but he's done a really good job Down. Slowly, methodically picking people off. It looks like the car has a good bunch of race pace underneath it. Obviously, wasn't his best qualified performance in terms of where he would like to be. I'm sure he'd like to be up in the front, but inside the top 10 put him in a good position to now try and capitalise on what they have as a race package.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, at the end of the day, everyone would love to have every pole position, but if you just put yourself in the picture, you know, it's about buying a ticket to the end, and he's obviously got a decent car underneath him and hasn't been too afraid to be sort of, you know, what was he back sort of fifth at one stage, or maybe even 6th, I'm not sure. But now in top 3, he's comfortable with the car. It looks pacey, and now he just needs to think about how the rest of the race plays out, whether he starts catching these guys in front, and then obviously they start thinking about pit stops.
And then this second gaggle as well has sort of been broken up once Burton sort of and Ethan Grigol had their coming together. Anderson's now the lead of this second train with Burke behind, Ethan Warren behind them, who's currently second in the championship. So he'd be looking to try and maybe move up a couple of positions. And then it's Burton and Jordan Ross. And it looks like Ethan Grigol sort of hold position, so maybe that damage isn't hurting. He's got a little bit to the left front and obviously a lot to the right rear from where he smacked the fence on the exit. But it looks like it's still okay. He hasn't lost a lot of speed at the moment.
Yeah, I think he got away with it. I mean, obviously it's not ideal to make contact with the wall, but yeah, I think at the end of the day, if you're going to have a crash at Spa and that's your crash, you take it.
Yeah. There's so many other spots on this racetrack where you can have an absolutely mega accident, and there is one of them, and he avoided it somehow. I just kissed the fence and kept going. As we look a little bit further back, somehow, I don't know how he does it, but Ben Smith, now, will he have a move on Jack Boyd? Is this other little train that's further on back that he's trying to do? We've got Chris Coxhead on pit road. That's one of our first people to come down and get their pit stop. They've got to put in 96 litres over the distance, or roughly there or thereabouts, depending on how much they save. So you could split that up, do 45 in one, 45 in the other, a little bit less in one, more in the other. Obviously, tyres cover roughly 18 odd seconds in a pit stop, 18 litres, sorry, of fuel. So you can get away with 18 litres in one and chuck the rest in the other, but it depends on track position. I think that's going to be a key factor later on, Sandman, where you put yourself in that position.
Absolutely, and you know, out of your best friends too, you want those 4 Dunlops to be your best friends, so you want to have them in the best condition as possible towards the end of the race, just so you've got something to work with to put yourself in a position to possibly take the win. So, and that's what these guys will be thinking about, obviously not trying to push too hard. We've touched on that, looking after tyres, going the distance, but it'll be once they start doing these pit stops, they'll start playing about the strategy and start thinking about when that second pit stop will be. They'll all have an understanding now of how these cars feel. The tyres aren't in the best condition at the moment, so lap 10, they've got an understanding, and they go, right, you know, think about maybe some changes they might make with roll bars or anything, and then thinking about that fresh tyre run in that middle stint.
That's right, fresh tyres are going to be the factor, as none of these leading guys come down the road, not expected to yet. There's still 29 laps left on the board at the moment. Rivera leading Jared Filsell with Madison Down, Ben Gisberg and Kostecki in the top 5. And Filsell just not watching brief at the moment. Let's see whether we can do what he can do as we're right on board and turn that volume up. Listen to these supercars hum around Spa. fun to listen to of those cars down that straight. Full song V8 Supercar action, and they're all tight, they're all close together. Sam, man, 12 laps, or 11 laps in the book. This is currently lap 12. Rivera's still out in front from pole position. Outside pole man was Jared Filso on that front row, and he is currently P number 2, but Madison down hot on his heels, and it looks like he's brought some friends.
Absolutely. It's the top 5 here just pulling away a little bit. Is that a bit of a heartbreaker for Anderson? You can see that he looks in his mirror, so he's a freight trainer cars,
yeah.
But he looks forward and sees the cars sort of disappearing. I wonder what that does for him. Does it sort of mess with his head a little bit, or is he quietly confident that when it comes to pit stops that he might be able to sort of drag that back? I'm sort of curious about to see how that plays out for him.
The thing that he could do, and it's one of those factors that he could play into this, is actually short fill and put himself in that lead group. And it may hurt him later on, but it may help him. Because if he can latch onto those guys and get in the draft trade, and actually he will pull himself further up. So that might be his ploy. Yes, all right, he's 5 odd seconds off behind, but can he at least, pull himself up further along with a short pit stop and gain those odd 5 odd seconds that he may lose in terms of short fill? Let's see.
Yeah, absolutely, and never rule out safety cars too. Well, obviously everything's going to plan for these drivers, and we haven't had to use a safety car yet, but that could play out where he does a short fill, takes up that position, and gets up front. Oh, a little bit sideways though on the brakes though. Oh, we go back there. Oh, there was contact. There's a car round. Backwards. Is that Burton, I think? It looked like he was backwards. So, oh no, that's just gone from bad to Burton. He was sort of battling for top 5, but now he's back. He's just going to dive straight into pit lane. He sort of had the pain of the spin. He may as well take the rest of the pain and get the pit stop over with.
May as well just get it all done in one clean swoop. Who was it?
Oh, it's a big drive.
Oh, that has to be a penalty. Not trying. He was going for a very late dive. He got the car he wanted in terms of got past Ross, but there was Burton turning in. Nowhere Burton to go off the front nose. So, got him. Here's cut.
Do we want to touch on that those two came together a little bit earlier?
Yeah,
but,
I wasn't. I was leaving that. They've come together a couple of times this season. There has been some heated words, I think, that has been said. I don't know whether to each other or not, but
I think maybe that was just a little bit late on the brake and just dived in it. And you've driven these cars before. Once you're committed to that brake pedal, regardless of where you are, there's nothing you can do about it. Once you realise that you're going in too deep, it doesn't matter if you're pressing harder. You press that brake harder, she's going to lock up and go straight ahead anyway. So
yeah, exactly.
Unfortunate, but I guess the only thing you can take away from that, Burton, is that it happened near pit lane. He could just dive straight in and just sort of try to push on now with fresh tyres.
That is one of the factors that you can factor into. Okay, just like he did a really good job from then come in, get the tyres, do the pit stop, put tyres on it and go again. You know what I mean? There's no point going back around. You've already just taken the hurt of losing so many positions. Again, like you said, and I know it's hard. Once you commit to a spot on the track and where you're going to brake hard and you know that's where you're going, as soon as you try and modulate, if you go any harder and you're already past that limit, you can easily brake lock and that's it. You're inside front locking and you're done. So it's so hard. So it's just one of those things. It's just an unfortunate incident. But let's see how they get on with the rest of this race. Maloney and Hampstead, it seems like these two have been stuck together, and I don't like it because they're basically the same number with just an inverse in paint scheme. It's so hard. These two, I love them together, but we need to separate them. I know the mirrors and everything. I know I'm playing on a 28 and 29, and Hampstead and Maloney look like they've been together all season long.
Look, at the end of the day, they're pushing on. It's funny. I was just paying attention as you were talking before, watching Anderson, and you see these cars now firing into pit lane. They're deciding to get, I was going to say earlier too, about lap 13 is probably the equal race distance where everyone will sort of maybe start thinking about coming in. 13, 26, 30, whatever.
Yeah, that's right.
31,
Math works.
Yeah, so that's where it's looking. But Anderson looks like he was really struggling on tyres, so I don't imagine it'll be too much later before you see him dive in.
And you can tell that by the gap that he's lost off. And that's where I think he needs that draft, maybe just to help him later in the run, of just keeping himself in that position to be able to gain as much time as possible. Because at the moment, those 5 at the moment, pardon me, they caught me off guard there, is Oh, Hampstead and Greg Gold side by side. A little bit of contact on the exit, just a bump the scrape as they keep going down into Ravage. I thought he was going to maybe have a look at Hampstead, but no, just going to sit him behind.
Yeah, well, that's why they came together. I think Hampstead was just trying to get that crossover done, and just as he put the nose there, it was just run the bumper across the front bumper. So anyway, they both got away with it, main thing. But I guess the stewards will now be thinking about whether there's sort of any penalty to come for Greg Galt with that contact with Burton. So we'll see how that all plays out. We'll worry about the powers that be, and they can concentrate on that. But these guys will now be starting to think about pit stops and putting on those fresh tyres.
Yeah, I'm glad it's them and not me. I've done enough of helping out with everything that I was doing with Supercars for the last 6 weeks that I would gladly step back into the pit booth and do what I love as well as out in front. Like I said, these five, I feel like they're just in a world of their own, and it's not like any of them have really dropped off in terms of tyre wear. I would have thought maybe Rivera might not have had the upper pace. Obviously, we haven't seen him do this well this season. Obviously, he's done really well. We had a little birdie in our ear of Brenton telling us that he was going to be quick today. So we knew this was coming, but he has done really well to keep himself in front of his field.
It's funny, every time we see the camera pan through that part of the track, I keep looking to pit lane. Someone diving in. Who's diving in the background? But they're still pushing on. So lap 15 of 39, and yeah, it looks like they're quite eager to sit. I think they'll probably just go to the point where they just run their tanks empty. But you see again, look at that, Ethan Warren just thinking about a move up the inside. Anderson just struggling with grip. Looks like every time he's in the braking zone and getting onto the power, he's just struggling with those rear tyres. So yeah, I think he'll be desperate to go in soon enough.
I'm surprised he hasn't pulled the trigger earlier, just to get himself on another set of tyres and sort of, get yourself into another rhythm, if that makes sense. It's hard. Sometimes you burn them up too early, you don't even realise it. And then your second set of tyres is like a different world, completely different world. You don't even know why it's like that, but you just, maybe in your own rhythm, you've got that rhythm of the first stint out of the way, so you're not pushing as hard on the tyres, and it just comes to you a lot better in the second stint. So I'm surprised he hasn't pulled the trigger early. These five, though, I think they're just going to run as long as they can until someone says, okay, I'm going to pit.
Yeah, and that won't be too far away. I think with Anderson, the thing that he's lucky with at the moment, he's got a teammate behind him. So you don't feel that pressure as bad when you've got someone that's not a teammate, because they're keen to just sort of get past you, and they want blood in the water. So when it's a teammate, you guys can work together and think about a strategy. So that's probably where he's at. But I don't imagine it'll be too much longer for these guys. I know they're all pretty happy with their cars. It's good to see them all nice and close. And Gisbergen hasn't given them up. We're right on board now. He's right in behind Madison Down. So these guys just sort of hitting their numbers, looking at their fuel tank, and they'll be in when they're close to being empty, I think. And then it'll be interesting to see who gets the better job done as far as strategy with their stop.
Well, if they ran roughly, estimating here, if they had a full tank, which I don't think anyone would have started with less than full tank, you'd be looking at they can get roughly over half distance on a full tank, and then put 96 litres in, obviously, for the rest of the race distance. So it's roughly halfway that you can get to in this race if you want to run the tyres that far, but you've got to make another stop. So they could, but again, these guys are great. They have the superior tyre life where you can push out a full stint and do two short ones and blur the tyres off and like nothing matters. So wouldn't be surprised as we cut away, as I thought maybe one of them was going to dive down a bit late, but again, none of them do, as Maloney gets past Ethan Gringold this time, as it looks like that's Myers to the inside of Gringold as well. I think Gringold is hurting from that damage. That looks like net code, maybe. I couldn't see that one, but there's been contact again. That's Ethan Gringold this time with Brady, and that's going to be a slowdown as well. Up the inside of the tank, so now he's got to slam on the brakes.
That just adds insult to injury, doesn't it? I mean, far out. That's just, there we go. And we can see on board too. Look, the move, he's going to get up the inside as we see there's a penalty above the top of the screen there. Unfortunately, I think, is it going to be net code? Oh, yeah, that's just bad luck, that is. But then to get that penalty of a cut track there, that's just just rub salt in the wounds.
That's hard luck. That's like, I want to get going. No, you can't. You can't get going again. You're not allowed. That was a 20-second penalty, I believe, is what I saw for Hayden Harrison, the 096. So he's had problems together with someone as well. So he has a penalty added on. But these five out in front, look at how close they are. This is good. We were talking about it off air, so hopefully we can have like a good race, good comeback race for Logitech G Supercars Pro Invitational. 6 weeks back, we come to Spa, and now we got 5 people in with a shot. You said at the start you wanted to put them all up in the air and pick a name out of the hat. Well, one's fallen out, and you've got 5 left, so pick one.
That's right. Yeah, well, that one's probably the one that hit the floor that I didn't pick up. So, yeah, my concern coming into this round is that our race was going to be Verstappen, where you get one car that disappears off into the ocean, and then you just it's a battle for second and third. But the quality of the drivers that we've got, obviously everyone's putting in a lot of work in this series. They're comfortable with these cars. They love driving them, and they're putting on a show. The top 5 here, I mean, we shouldn't be surprised. You go through the names that we've got: Rivera, Filsell, Down, Van Gisbergen, Kostecki. Like, man, we know what these guys are like on and off the racetrack, and they really put on a good show, and we're seeing it here.
That's it. These guys are really putting on a really good show here for round number 5 of the championship. Rivera in front, Filsell down, Van Gisbergen, Kostecki underneath a blanket of 1.5 seconds as we come up to the point. Lap 16 on to lap 17, and there is nothing in there. Look at that shot of those 5 cars down the front straightaway into the source, and it's one of those, and there goes the next. That's how big of a gap actually they pulled out on Anderson. That shows he is really struggling with those tyres.
Yeah, and that second group was a lot. There was more in it. It was like 9 cars at one stage, but unfortunately there was that incident with Knowlton. So that spread that out a little bit. But I'm waiting for one of these top 5 to dive in before the front 1 or 2 possibly, and maybe try the overcut, the undercut. So that's what I'd like to see, is someone to dive in, get those fresh tyres for a lap, and see if they can make the position, because it's so close. There's nothing in it.
Well, that's where I think as well, Anderson, he's in a prime position to make up that tyre just by pitting and getting some time on a fresher rubber. You're shrinking up your 2 last stints. You know what I mean? Like, you're bringing those 2 last stints shorter, so you're not going to push as long on those tyre stints, but you can gain so much by pitting.
Yeah, I think Anderson's probably a little bit too far out to capitalise. But, man, if you saw a Down, a Van Gisbergen or a Kostecki dive in before, Rivera or Filsell, like, that could be crucial, because there's a 1/10 and a half in it. So, and that's easily a fresh set of tyres. So I'd love to see someone dive in and not have them all sort of freight train in at the same lap.
Well, there is roughly 1.5 seconds a lap difference on tyres between old and new. So it'll be interesting to see how these guys play it as Stenberg gets the position done on Jamie Dyett, moves himself up into P number 15 as he is on it, as we have a drive-through penalty and that will be the contact. So that's a drive-through penalty for Ethan Grigalt. It's meant to be not 17, car 177. So that'll be a drive-through penalty for that, from his contact with Jake Burton at the last corner.
Mate, look at the damage that Stenberg's got to the front left of that Commodore. Like, that's a killer around this racetrack, because we touched on aero so much. But you look at that, look at the damage that he's got to that left front. So that would be killing him in a straight line. Wouldn't be great through the corners. So, and that's something he's going to have to deal with, because that doesn't really it's not something that gets fixed very quickly in the pits. So at the end of the day, it's a tough racetrack to have that sort of damage on.
I wonder where he's got that from, because before, when he was racing with Ellis and them, he looked pretty clean. So he's got a little bit of damage down to that front left, and like you said, that'll be hurting him, especially down these long straights. It's such an error-efficient track that you need the body panels as straight as possible, even though it may not look like it's a big thing, but it's definitely a big thing. So this looks like this could be part of the question of where did Stenberg get his damage from? As it's Harrison to the inside. Yep, that's the one.
There it is.
There
Bang.
it is. Bang. Oh, he got 2 hits to the left front corner, sorry. So that was earlier on, and that's where Hayden Harrison got his drive-through, his 20-second penalty from, his contact to the back of Stenberg. Oh, here we go. The Rivera and Filsell. I think Filsell's like, I'm going to get in front before the pit stops. He must have had a look, because it's on out the front.
Mate, loving the action. Big shout out to Luke behind the scenes. That was great, grabbing that vision of Steady to see what happened. But man, oh man, it's starting to get serious now. Look at this, nose to tail for the top 5. These boys are close to pit stop, so now they're pushing. We haven't seen Filsell push and put the pressure on like this. So look at him go. Look at him. He's thinking about to move up the inside, and he's going to be right behind him. Now he looks to the outside. It's not exactly where you want to be. He'll think about the crossover.
What is this? Where was this on the first 18 laps? He's now pushing him through the. He's pushing him through the.
They know that they're pitting now, so they can just use up the tyres that they've got. You don't need them anymore. They're going to be coffee tables after this. So these guys now know that they're pushing. They're going to start thinking about getting that track position, because you don't want to be held up by someone in front of you if you dive in pit lane, because then you have to worry about the concertina effect jumping on the brakes. So if you can get position, get into pit lane first. You don't have to worry about maybe going up to the back of someone and getting damage.
Top 5 separated by under a second, 9/10 of a second. It's on out the front. Rivera thought he was going to be clean the sailing for this first stint. Phil Sells applying the float torch. He thought about a move into box wrong. I don't think that was the right way, but he comes down. Down's going to have a look into the last chicane. Gizzy's going to go around the outside.
Yep. Oh, who flies it? Go to the pits.
Who's going to pit? Rivera pit. Yeah.
Oh, did. Awesome.
Straight in the pit lane, going to get the job done. Now Phil Sell has to try and make up ground. He has the clear air. Rivera's going to have the fresh tyres.
Yeah, I think that's probably great that he did that, because he probably felt, all right, these guys are starting to pressure me a little bit. Obviously, his tyres were going away. Did the best thing, went straight in, put on the new tyres, and now he'll be able to push. And, of course, with that push advantage with that one set, I imagine these guys will be in straight in this lap.
They have to be. You have to just react.
Cover him off.
You have to cover him now. It's too close of a race to be like, oh, I'll give it a lap or two. You'll lose too much time. So Phil Sell now, that little bit of a gap that he's got down, that will get eaten up right now by this straight. Gizzy was getting in amongst the action too. It's good to see Van Gisbergen and Kostecki battling with these guys.
Oh, that was close.
Down.
That was tricky. I think Down got sort of squirrely. Yeah, he got the hard on the brakes on that curb, and it almost looked like it wasn't going to pull up. I reckon that was a close moment. He nearly went in the back of Phil Sell.
So on this current pit stop, Down.
Oh, he locked the brake again, I think. Sorry to cut you off.
Oh,
yeah, he got away with it. It looked like he pinched the brake, and I thought Van Gisbergen was going to dive up the inside, so he got away with that. So sorry to cut you off there, mate, but I thought he was gone.
I thought so too. I was going to say that, like, the Down needs 4 tyres and maybe a new race suit, and I think he will need another set of race suit after that, because I don't think he would have wanted to feel that right front brake lock right at that moment, a critical moment of trying to close that gap to Phil Sell, and he'll know that. There's a couple of tenths that he would have lost there. It's just moved himself out of the range, put himself under the blowtorch of Van Gisbergen and Brody Kostecki. They have to pit though this time, Sam, and it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, we know about the fresh tyre advantage. I think it will be these guys will fire in this time by. And of course, we touched on before that concertina effect. Not so much for Phil Sell now. He knows he's got a bit of space around him. But Van Gisbergen, we see how he loves to make up some ground in pit lane entrances in the real world too. So he'll be keen to do that as well to the back of Down, but mindful of not getting damage to the nose too.
It's going to be interesting. Will he try and fire it down the inside to get in front of him? I thought he may do this because he will. He's going to show the nose, but Down's not going to give it to him because Down. I think Down wanted to go to pit lane. I think he wanted to go to pit lane, and he couldn't because Gizzy just shoved it down the inside. It was like, if I turn across him, I'm in the fence. Like, there's no way he's going to get out of that. So Phil Sell, Gisbergen in, Anderson Burke in as well. Down and Kostecki go again, and Kostecki actually got past Down. So that mistake out of the last corner has now put Brody Kostecki out in front by a nose. And here we go. Kostecki, he got out of it.
The last thing you want to do, especially on, lap 20 tyres, the last thing you want to do is go through there, even on fresh tyres. So this will probably hurt these guys that now they're staying out, unfortunately, but it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out. But you were spot on the money. I would love to talk to Down later as we look at the inside. Kostecki thinks about it, no. But I reckon, dead set, Down was probably thinking about making that position to go into pit lane, but he couldn't because he thought Van Gisbergen was on his outside.
Yeah, I think that's what he thought. He had to just commit. He had to commit to the extra lap. He can't do much. We've just gotten word from Brenton O'Brien, who is obviously Evolution Racing team manager. He said that there was a pit problem for Marcelo. His car went back up on the jacks for fuel. It was a 36-second stop. It has thrown him out of the race right now. He has dropped roughly 5 to 6 seconds compared to those around him, maybe a little bit more. And that's such a shame for someone who was... He was up there. He was in that fight for the win.
Yeah, look, and it's still not over. If it's about 5 or 6 seconds longer than what he wanted, it probably still keeps him sort of in that top 5-6 battle. So, you know, that top 5 guys did manage to break away from that second pack. So it's just that distance of closing up, and he won't have anyone to draft with. So that's probably the bit that'll kill him. So, yeah, that's a heartbreaker, but maybe working obviously in favour for these guys. But have a look at the back here. Yeah, he's keen. He's bump draft. This is like NASCAR Daytona style with Madison down. But, geez, it's so easy to get this back of someone when someone's turning. The last thing you want is sending someone round. But, man, they are pushing. No doubt they will head to pit lane this time by.
Just hope there's no rain coming into the last chicane that doesn't get flagged by the marshals as they come in to the last chicane. And they have to pit.
Wow.
Wow.
Down didn't.
What?
Down's still out.
Yeah, okay.
Man,
this live is
I love it. I love it. From a commentary box, I love it. I love that there's a bit of strategy that they're throwing out there. Down's not going with him. He's like, right, he's comfortable with his car. He's going to push on. So, obviously, well, I guess it looks like that he wasn't going to pit that time when we thought Van Gisbergen was going around there. So, this is, I'm keen to see how this plays out.
I do think it did throw him off a little bit that Gizzy was down the inside because obviously it hurt his run. Pardon me. This cold, I hate being sick. Apologies to everyone out there, and a massive shout out as well. You mentioned it before to Luke with all his work that he does on the cameras. He's doing an amazing job tonight, grabbing that footage and then bringing us to the action. And Phil Selbeck, Gisbergen, that's where they are. And this is further back. So there's Costello. Anderson and Rivera is just behind them. There he is. So that's the ground that he has lost to Gisbergen and Phil. Maybe he's got a little bit of extra fuel in there as well, Sandman, that now we can try and use to gain that spot back. But I think it's going to be hard because a couple of those guys, I think, listen to us in short field.
Yeah, I love that Anderson's been brought into it a little bit closer now. So that's really good. But how much longer can Down go? What are we, lap 21 now? So curious to see how much more fuel he's got in the tank, but how much does he want to give up as far as track position? Because he's obviously losing time on those older tyres.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how many more laps. I think it'll be roughly 1 or 2 that he'll be able to go on the fuel tank. As I'm having a look through the pit stop time, so Phil Selbeck, Gisbergen, they were 28 seconds for their pit stop time. Same with Brody Kostecki. Rosella did a 20-second pit stop window as again, Luke, awesome work as always as I'm running through these. Maloney was 18 seconds, and as you can see, Rivera was 36 seconds in the pit stop. So that's where he's lost a lot of time. But you can see the fluctuation. 8 seconds from Rosella would have been fuel number. So you know he's going to lose roughly that back. But he's put himself in that fight with those other guys around him.
Now, desperately just watching to see if Down fires in this time by. Curious just to see where he rejoins. Sure enough, he's in.
Yep.
So that Commodore is straight into pit lane. He's got a good exit there. So hard on the brakes, doesn't want to get caught speeding. That'll be the last thing. That'll be a nail in the coffin for this race. You get a speeding penalty in pit lane. So now we look at the track back. You can see that Down is in the lane and the rest of the field is chasing him down.
I think he's going to come out maybe behind Van Gisbergen. I don't think he's going to slot in. It's so hard because it depends on how much fuel he takes in. So it's currently 10 seconds in his pit stop. So it's still trucking along right now. 15 is just passed now. He's still in the box. It's going to hit 20 now. Still in the box. Hasn't dropped. 22, 23, 24. There they go. And he's dropped down. So he is rolling down the pit lane. He's going to come out roughly behind Van Gisbergen. Oh no, he's going to come out in front. So
how good's that?
Well, he timed that well. Fastest lap for Phil Cell on that lap. Will that be enough to put himself in front? It will. But Down's right there.
Yeah, and Down would have just taken it easy. Obviously, his tyres not quite up to temp. But look at the run he's got now. He's going to go for a move around the outside. Look at the pace that he's got through there. So Down now takes the lead after staying out longer in that pit strategy. Love how it's all played out, but currently leading over Philson.
Down was like, thank you very much, and I will take back the lead. Unless Philson rolled out, needed to save a little bit of fuel. Press, you know, you can always still keep the revs up, but just drop off to maybe 90% throttle just to go, okay, Down, you lead. I'll sit in behind, save some fuel. Van Gisbergen still there in third position with Brody Kostecki right behind. The only person we've lost, like we said, was Marcelo Rivera. He was dropped. about 8 seconds back from this leading group due to a pit stop error. That was nothing he could do about it. It went back up on the jacks and he has lost 8 seconds, so he has dropped himself out of the hunt at the moment. As we look back at Tom Freer, who is also finding some damage on the right front as well. He's been in the wars tonight. As we look at a replay for the 707, looks like he's had it coming together into turn number 1. Sam, man, is this going to be all on his own?
He's going straight ahead. That was weird, wasn't it?
It's very odd.
He's got a lot of damage to that when we're looking at that replay. I was curious because there was damage to that car anyway before we saw that. But yeah, he just ran wide and the cars got past him and he just pushed on. So obviously not the race isn't going ideal for him, but yeah, I'm not quite sure where that damage came from.
I was just having a look. He actually hasn't stopped yet either. So that could have been why he knows he's not in this race. But he hasn't actually come down pit lane. So he will be coming down, I reckon, at the end of this lap.
Yeah, fumes.
Some service. Yep. Yeah, he'd be running out of fuel much there. So see what he does there. But at the moment, Down has retaken the lead. Lap 22 going to be in the books as they come across the line. And Gisbergen and Kostecki, I don't know how many times these two have been sent together on TV and everywhere else. But as I say, that Kostecki fastest lap of the race, and Gizzy just let him through.
Yep. Look, at the end of the day, they've still got another pit stop to play out. So these guys will just sort of be running now and just sort of hitting their mark. So they know they've got that one stop out of the way. They'll start to be thinking about how this race plays out, what sort of margin they get over everyone. Because before they came into pit stops, it was nose to tail for the top 5. And then they had a decent gap from 6 further back. So you can see how much it's all changed just with that pit stop. So these guys now just want to get themselves into a rhythm, see what sort of pace they've got against each other. But there's definitely more cars in the mix.
There is a lot more cars in the mix. So that's why I say I think that strategy of people putting a little bit less fuel in, coming in a little bit earlier, have played them into this race. Now they're going to try and latch onto these guys and see what they can do. If you look back, oh no. Burton and Ethan Gritgold are together again.
Oh, he's right on the bumper.
On the bumper. Just going to roll off early, save as much fuel as he can. These two have had numerous comings together, but here we go. Let's see what these guys have got for us. But Burton pushing hard, trying to regain time that he's lost. Ethan Gritgold trying to regain time that he lost from his penalties. So these boys, I'm sure they'll just work together and try and see what they can try and gain.
It's funny, motorsport, whether it's the sim world or the racing world, it doesn't matter how it always plays out, is whenever you sort of have contact with someone, you always end up battling with them on the racetrack. Isn't it funny how the racing gods play that out for us?
It loves it, doesn't it?
But it looks like at the moment, these guys got a little bit of gap between them. Still a fair distance away, and now we go back to the front. We see Van Gisbergen, he's in a little bit of a sandwich at the moment, not too concerned. He is getting a little bit of pressure there from back of Warren. He looks like he's a little bit pacey. I don't know if he's going to think about making that move on him, but what he's looking forward to is that looking forward, I mean, he doesn't want to let the top two get away from him too much because he can see his teammate Down, who's a little bit further down the racetrack. He's now 3.1 seconds behind where he's in this freight train.
I feel like these TTR cars have come alive in the race. Like, Down is now out in front, and Phil Sells, like, not on him now since that window. He was roughly 9/10 back this lap, and Ethan is all over the back of Shane Van Gisbergen. These TTR cars have come alive in the race, and they are on a charge to try and see what they can do. Nearly matched, if not the fastest lap, by Brody Kostecki. Give Madison down that lap without a toe. That car is flying.
Yeah, and well, new tyres too. I mean, you know, yeah, everything is sort of coming together at the moment. Yeah, a nice little gap at the moment, 1 second. It's good, but we've seen at the start of this race where the top two got away early, and Van Gisbergen was sort of dropping off, and then it all changed around. So it was Van Gisbergen had a bit of a moment and ran wide. So he may be thinking about a move in a position here, so he may lose a spot here. I think Van Gisbergen will just roll out of it now and just give it to him and sort of push on.
Yeah, see if he could just latch onto the back of Warren. I think he would have known that Warren was coming a little bit quick.
He was pacey too,
yeah,
Warren.
He's got some really good pace underneath him, so I think that's a smart move there from Gisbergen. Around a little bit wide. Like, I'm going to be under pressure anyway into the comp. There's no point putting up a fight. Let him through and find another day as we look back at Gilliam and Anderson battling for 9th and 10 just inside. And let's see what Gilliam is trying to fight and find a way around Josh Anderson. Nowhere to pass there.
Yeah, I'd love that little bit of pressure. And like we said before, sometimes it's easier just to put pressure on someone and hope they make a mistake. You know, it's easier to do that than sometimes trying to make a move. So, and all these guys do it. We see where they sort of dive around, they move around in the mirrors, and they try to think about, they fake a move up the inside and late on the brakes. But that's all part of racing.
Go,
if you can sort of block that out in your rearview mirror, that can play dividends in a long race. So, yeah, I love how they do it, but sometimes it does mess with some drivers.
Yeah, definitely just being there is an annoying thing that, especially when you're trying to get into a rhythm, and I think that's what Anderson will be trying to do from this pit stop. And now Gilliam is all over the back. You've got two things to focus on. You can't get away with trying to be like, this is what I want to do, this is where I want to put my car, and then you're watching Gilliam behind, and I feel like it's a vicious cycle, and then you lose lap time, and they just continue. So let's see where
he's going to make a move.
Yeah, he's going to make a move. So Gilliam's going to do what I said, and Anderson's like, yep, all right, I'll be a pain in your mirror now, and try and make you make some mistakes and see what we can do from here. But Gilliam, good move, hard, clean racing down inside to the final chicane, and moves himself up as we look at the front battle, and Van Gisbergen, our wild card. Let's actually ride on board with a lap. Turn it on up. We'll ride on board for a lap with Shane Van Gisbergen. Lap on board with Shane Van Gisbergen, and looks nice, calm, easy, not overdriving the car at all, and just picking off the laps as they go. Currently in that fifth position, 25 laps in the book on lap 26 of this 39-lap race for round 5 of the Logitech Supercars Pro Invitational. Madison down, currently at the head of the field, but he has got two Boost Mobile SSR cars right behind him, Jared Philsell, Brody Kostecki, I should say right behind him, 1.6 seconds back, but they're there. Did some watching brief to see whether they can gain with Philsell, Kostecki, Warren, and then the best we run on board Shane Van Gisbergen inside that top 5 as we look further back, and this is going to be Jordan Ross with Brady Myers going to go to the inside Sam End. It looks like he should be able to get that job done at the end of the straight. I'm sure Ross won't fight that too hard.
Yeah, smart heads-up racing by Ross. He saw that he was alongside. It's just, yep, get out of the throttle. Let's go single file. Let's see him push on. A little bit of damage to the back of that TTR car as well, I think. So, but fortunately, you'd rather have the damage at the back than the front.
That's it. Rather have it there. It's not going to affect the car that much. It might just make it look a little bit uglier in the back, but it's not going to hurt the aero efficiency in a straight line, which is sort of the talking point of today, is being in that draft, that tow, and using the other cars to pull yourselves along. And Maloney, currently in P number 7, has done a really good job of getting himself in that hunt was working well with Hampstead, who is in 13th. It shows how the strategies have changed at this point of who's running what, who's on what fuel numbers. If you look at those strategies, all of these guys have come around the same sort of lap. Frizzell's a standout of coming down 13 on, sorry, not 13 on laps, a couple of laps on before. He's gained 13 positions, mind you. But a couple of people short filling Maloney and Gilliam of those under 20-second pit stops. A couple in front, 28 odd second. Stocks down, obviously, smack bang in the middle with 25. And it's going to be interesting to see how they all play out in that next stop when they got to put in and get to the end. But these two, Sam, man, how do these two work themselves out here? Philso obviously looks like he's had the better pace, but Kostecki hasn't really shown his pace either.
Yeah, what do they say? The old adage that the cream always rises to the top. So that's why these guys tend to find each other, but they work well together. They practice and they test together, so they know each other's driving styles. But the advantage that these guys have got too, when they're teammates and they're as close as they are, is that they can probably save fuel together as well. So don't be surprised if maybe if they swap around, where Philso might let Kostecki lead for a while and Philso might save fuel. So that's the benefit that these guys have got. They're not too worried at the moment. Obviously, they don't want Philso to get away too much. But see, here we go. Kostecki gets the job done here, maybe around the outside. So what he'll do is he'll swap around, just as I said. Well, they're listening, I think. And, yeah, they might start thinking about saving fuel. So they'll work together.
And same thing happening here. Gilliam going to switch around with Maloney. Not teammates, but they're just going to switch around and see where they go from there. And that's the way you play it. Middle stint, coming up to roughly just over 10 laps to go. You want to do it. But one person we've got to mention, Brad Ryan, actually started from pit lane. And in iRacing land, that's an extra 30-odd seconds behind the field, because iRacing loves to do that. So he's worked his way up to 21st at the moment. We're still a little bit longer in this race to go with a couple of cars in front of him. That is a mega drive for him to be able to gain those spots.
Absolutely, yeah. That's it's never ideal starting from pit lane, but to be where he's at now, that's a hat-off effort there. So well done, mate. That's really good. But here we go. We're looking to Kurt Stenberg again with that damage. He's doing okay to stay in touch with these guys. Obviously, in the draft, that helps. Well, you don't want to be that first car pushing with that sort of damage. But when he's tucked in this little train, it actually takes away some of that disadvantage. Yeah. So that's actually working out quite well for him at the moment.
And Hobson's pitted twice. I do believe he has come down the pit lane twice. Yes, he has. So he's one of those... Oh! Sebastian Flock in the wall.
Now, safety car.
Here we go.
Is he stuck there? Can he get a tow? I don't know if he's fired off into that barrier where it's caught like the right front.
There's the pitman are on. See in the back? Looks like it maybe the car's struggled, because if he hasn't engaged the clutch, it'll just turn the car off. Down's in. Down's reacted, so's Warren. Ooh. Oof.
Yeah. Wow, you don't want to be a team strategist right now, but who knows, that safety car may come out. I think
it's in a bad spot. He's requesting a tow. It's in a bad spot. It's a hard one, isn't it, Sandown? Now, what does race control do? Do they pull the safety car to release that car off the track, or does he get... I think he's requested a tow, so we can't get that car back fired, so he's stuck. He's still there.
Still there. So, and we see that Downs already made that pit stop, so that's a good step. Safety car. So that's worked out nicely for Madison Down. He fired straight into pit lane. That team was on it. They knew that there was a possibility of a safety car, and that doesn't always work out. So the safety car's worked out for him. He's got his pit stop. Now everyone's just racing around to get their stop done.
What a call from TTR. Yeah. They were bang on that. They knew it, because Down and Warren fired straight to pit lane and got the job done. And they've put themselves in a really good position. I think a couple of others did, Marcelo Rivera as well. That was a really good call from those guys. Bringing in pit lane, they knew where it could have been. There's the stranded car, which is in just a precarious position. Had to pull the safety car. These boys will be flying to get back to pit lane right now.
Yeah, and look, at the end of the day, it hasn't hurt Brody and Jared too much. They're only missing out by a lap, and it's not like these guys have to slow down with, cars or a safety car in front of them. So it just means that they'll dart straight into pit lane, and it'll be nice and close on exit. But yeah, good heads up there from TTR to fire straight back in as soon as they saw that there was a possibility of a safety car.
Yeah, and that's it. It's just heads up. They did what they had to do to put themselves in a position to maybe get that Obviously,
how much wider
that's what I
than
mean.
Kostecki
They
want
are
to be?
using this. Kostecki is like, track limits, what's that? We need to get this advantage. They know that fresh tyre advantage is so critical. They will have gained a tenth, 2 tenths. He was already in front of them. So he knows to gain any type of advantage right now, they need to push hard because Down can't overtake. And he's currently stuck behind Burton at the moment. So if Burton's pace isn't good enough, then these two need to make sure their pace is good. Oh.
It was close there for Kostecki on entry, but there you go. So they've darted it in now.
And Dakota Kiss.
Everyone's going to be in pit lane. So you'll see this is where the entire field, bar the front 2 TTR cars, everyone will be in pit lane now.
Yeah, now you'll see. So that's what I was saying. Down was stuck behind Burton. So even if he wanted to use up some of this tyre, he couldn't overtake Burton.
He's desperate here.
Yeah, now, bang, gone. So now we can try and gain any time that he's lost in one corner, which is hard to do. Pit exit for Kostecki. So's Fuel Cell. I think they're going to jump.
They got him. Yep, they got him.
Wow.
There you go. But look, at the end of the day,
Gizzy got him too.
Gizzy got him as well. Wow. Oh, yes, he did.
Yeah, he did. Gizzy got him. Well, it looked like it. According to the line, looked like Gizzy got down.
So, look, at the end of the day, that could have come down to how much fuel they needed to take on board too. Maybe, Down probably took a little bit more fuel.
Safety car halfway up Camel Straight.
So we look at the safety car.
So, yeah, Down won't be too concerned. He knows he's got good pace, and now it's a battle to the end now. They've bought their ticket to the end. They know they've got brand new tyres, so this is where it's going to get racy, and the entire field's going to be bunched up as well. So, man, if you haven't had a cuppa and a lay down before this, it might be the perfect time just to take a deep breath and get ready, because this this run to the checkered flag is going to be an absolute pearler.
I feel like we need a breath after this one. We just took one, but this is going to ramp this race up to another notch again. Especially with Fuel Cell Kostecki, they got the job done, moved himself in front of Madison Down, who looked like the fastest person at the moment. Once the cycles have come through, obviously Kostecki, Fuel Cell, and then it looks like it's going to be Down after Van Gisbergen, Burke as well with Warren, Anderson, Rosella, Rivera is still inside that top 10, and then Gilliam, as we will cut to a short break while these guys get themselves sorted on the safety car.
Car 84, you are clear to tow. Car 84, clear to tow. Car 84, you are clear to tow. Pit exit is closed.
As we bring it back under safety car, the field slowly start to get themselves all grouped up, getting ready for what could be a restart, Sandman. And well, we've just livened up the last 10 laps of this race, haven't we?
You're not wrong. And I'd love to just be in the centre with those teams. Just, obviously it worked out great for some people and didn't work out so great for others. But at the end of the day, we are guaranteed with a great finish. We already saw how long we went into this race with that, top 5 just drafting each other towards the end. We knew it was going to be a heck of a battle anyway. But at the end of the day now, with the entire field bunched up, anything is on the cards.
It's going to be a bit like that of who can salvage the best out of this, I guess, would be the way of going about it. Because those we got race control.
Racing will resume at the end of this lap. Racing will resume end of this lap.
We'll be getting ready for a restart this time around, which would be critical to what we need. Kostecki, Filsell will be leading, and how do you manage this from a team perspective out in front? Do they just try and bolt? Do they let Filsell go and bolt himself and get one of them to hold him back? I'm sure Kostecki would do it.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, they'll probably have some sort of understanding who's sort of in the window and faster at the moment, whether it be Filsell or Kostecki. But I think at the moment they don't want to battle, so they'll probably try and push at the start and see if they can make a gap. And then if they have to, they can swap around and let Filsell run, and then, Kostecki could play blocker. But they both, I don't mean blocker as a bad thing, but they've actually got pace, so these two can walk away from it. But Kostecki could put himself in a position where it just, makes it just that little bit trickier and makes it easier for Filsell. But it all depends on how the restart goes, and these other guys might be all livened up. They might have been saving things as far as maybe not pushing as far. We've got Van Gisbergen in third. He now knows that you don't have to save anything in the car. It's all pushing now. Use up what you've got to get to the end. So no one's going to have it easy, so it's really crucial that these all guys have to get a good clean start.
That's it. And everyone's on the same strategy. There's no other strategies now. Everyone just got put up. They may have a little different in terms of fuel load. I'm gonna guess Marcelo Rivera may have a little bit more than everyone else, considering what happened with him. But let's have a look at the incident that has put us under safety car with Sebastian Flock. Is it? Yeah, it's all. I just got on the power, bang. Oh, it actually got stuck. You were right, Sam. Yeah. I didn't think it was stuck. I thought he couldn't get it back started again. I know myself, if I didn't have a button set, he'd be stuck. But no, that actually stuck the front apron underneath the guardrail by the looks of it, and just said, no, you're not going anywhere. I've now taken control of this Holden Commodore. So, what a shame.
Yeah, it's a heartbreaker. It's never ideal, but unfortunately got wedged in, and it's really shaken this race up now. So I'm keen. I'm on the edge of my seat now, just waiting to see the safety car start to pull away. So now Brody is in control of the field, and he'll decide when he starts to push.
That beautiful Aston Martin GT4 car pulls away with the Logitech G safety car for the Logitech G Supercars Pro Invitational round 5 here from Spa. We've just set up another grandstand finish. I don't know how, but we do. We love this type of stuff in this championship. Kostecki, Filsell, what felt like has been a dominant part of this championship, they are out in front, and they haven't been the real dominant cars here today. I don't think we could say that, Sam, man, but they haven't. Filsell hasn't shown his dominance like he did at Monza. That was unreal what he did at Monza. There's a little bit more factors here to play, especially that car in third, Van Gisbergen, and that car in fourth, Madison Down. They've been quick.
Yeah, absolutely. And whether drivers have been saving anything to get to this point, who knows? But all the cards are on the table now. Everyone's going to use up what they've got. And now you'll see Kostecki he'll probably line himself up nice and straight out of this last turn, and he'll get on the throttle fairly quickly, I think.
Yeah, let's see when he decides to go. It'll have to be at the apex to exit of the last chicane. But here for a restart, Supercars Pro Invitational presented by Logitech. And it is green. Where they're not going yet. They're on that to show the green. They're not going yet. There's an overlap. Let's see. Now they
Gizzy!
Oh,
Gizzy nailed it! Oh, that was unbelievable!
Oh, they've all gone. Gizzy to the front. Did Kostecki just not want to go?
Yeah,
that could be a mess.
Yeah, he was allowed to dictate the start. The overlapping was there. Gizzy, there's carnage down the back. But wow, you can see one of the cars there backwards.
Hampstead? I think it was Hampstead. Unfortunately, I think that was Hampstead or Maloney. I think it's Hampstead, not Maloney, but Gizzy just jumped them all. Oh, we got a big one at radio.
Huge crash back there. One GTR cars to there. Oh, that could have been ugly.
Now that one was Maloney.
Oh, lucky not to fire back. Oh, look at the first level cars. Oh, there it goes. That's down. Sideways, make contact there. Managed to hold on to it. Oh, this has turned into a shambles. Oh, Anderson. That's gone Anderson. Huge contact. More cars involved. This is a concertina effect.
Safety cars breed safety cars. And that's half the field.
That's a killer.
Anderson's done. That's motor. That's done. Hampstead was around, Maloney was around, and Gizzy's still in the lead, but here comes Phil Sell to his inside, down into pull on. Oh, holds the position for now, but what was that?
That was textbook start from Van Gisbergen. He knew exactly what those guys were doing, and it looked like he might have nailed it properly. I mean, I know the stewards will probably look to see what sort of start he got, but I think he nailed it. I think that was perfect. And now Phil Sell's like, all right, now we've got some work to do. Got to get past Gizzy, and now Phil's just going to be eyes forward to try and see where he can get past him.
That was utterly chaos from the word go. As Mike, safety car. We're under safety car again. There it is. So Gizzy is now going to be in control of the restart, and there is a lot to unpack from that.
We said the start was going to be wild, or the finish was going to be wild. I think it's gone up a level now because it's going to get wilder again.
I don't know how we turned that one up another notch. I couldn't believe that. Gizzy got them both. He made them look like sitting ducks on the start. Got the job done, and now he's in front under safety car, but oh, there's so much to unpack. There were so many people involved.
There we go. Now, this is I just want to see where he got to the start. So he didn't beat him to the line.
No.
If you go by the line, you'll see that he nailed this. So the boost cars are side by side. Gizzy goes to the inside because he can see the gap.
Yep.
First, second, he's third.
Yep, bang, he got it. He did that. That was perfect. And down and nowhere to go because he was stuck.
Man, that was awesome. Well done, Gizzy. That was smart heads-up driving.
That was,
again,
shows his class and knowledge. And I know it's a sim, but man, he is on it when he's on it. And there is, that's Hampstead going around. He was just trying to stay out of the way. He was like, yeah, I'm just going to roll around, try and make sure I don't get hit.
But then it got hot up here too.
I think this was Maloney.
This is a fast one by side through there. That's never good. Man, lucky to pull it up and not roll back into the rest of the field there too.
That could have been big. And then another incident here. Yeah, Anderson 3 wide with Kostecki. Yeah, got him.
Made contact, then he bounced off down, and then down got sideways, and then you can see he's crossed up, he's gone round, and then there's more cars that barrel into him, unfortunately.
So we see that Aston Martin safety car once again. Back out.
You said it was a good-looking car. I didn't know if you wanted to see it again.
No, I didn't. I was sort of wanting that to play out how it was, but you know, here we are again. We get to see it again, and Gizzy in front with Phil Sell behind. It's crazy as we look at another replay. That's Anderson. That's no dumb.
Yeah, that's heartbreaking. I mean, you know, he did a good job to claw himself back in with that pit strategy, but yeah, unfortunately, that just went pear-shaped, and that car is done for him, unfortunately. And you see that telltale smoke. Bounced off his teammate. That was when Kostecki got up the inside. They made contact again. Down was just trying to rejoin, and unfortunately, it was just a concertina effect. And round Anderson went, and then he's tried to pull it up, and then bang, he's just in the field. And
got him. Oh, Ethan Grigol right in the door.
That car's had enough hits today.
Yeah, and Smith as well.
Yeah, so and that was just a concertina. There was nothing Anderson could have done. He was a sitting duck. Got drilled again too.
That was another TTR car. Ellis? I think it was Lee Ellis,
Man, yeah, not ideal, but yes, that's the way it all played out, unfortunately. But man, oh man, what a restart.
What a restart. What craziness. Safety cars breed safety cars. I guess that is common knowledge, and here it is once again, breeding another safety car. And I think the safety car was caught because Anderson, obviously, blown motor, was never going to make it back around, had to request a turbo. That was they done from there. But there was a lot of other cars out there. I wouldn't be surprised if there was some more stopped on the racetrack out there. But Gisbergen now has control, and now he's going to try and not do what Kostecki.
Well, yeah, he won't do that because then others will be thinking about doing to him what he did to them.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it'll be a different kettle of fish now. But, man, that's just smart racecraft, regardless of what you're doing, whether you're in a sim or whether you're in a go-kart or a race car, regardless of what it is. That's just smart heads-up racing. You could see what those Boost boys were doing. They left a gap to the inside. He just nailed it, got it right, and beat him to the line. So that was cool.
It was very cool. I'm just surprised they didn't react. Like, Filso and Kosecki just stood there like, no, you go, no, I'm not going to go. Well, when are we going to go? I don't know when we're going to go. And he's like, well, I'm just going to go then. Like, screw your boat. There's the line. I'm going. Like, it was like that. They just didn't know where they were going or what they wanted to do, or whether Kosecki could get to the line and then go, and then he was in control the whole way. It was like that confusion. But Gizzy was like, well, it's as soon as you reach the control line, it's green flag, so I'm going.
Yeah, and by the time that they'd seen that Van Gisbergen had already got the foot down, it was too late to react. He'd already got alongside of him, and he was just gone. So it was perfect. It was textbook. A lot of sim drivers and real world drivers can take a lot from that. So cool to see, and I'm excited to see now what the last bit of this race is how it's all going to unfold, because it certainly mixed things up a little bit.
It really has, and it's another thing as well for Van Gisbergen. It's just one of those things that you know, he comes in and does this, but again, we don't get safety cars that often in sim racing at all. So it's one of those things that he can bring from the racetrack knowledge into the sim and go, this is how you do a safety car restart.
Yep. And have a look at that, P3, Burke. Just running around there, just mind his own business. Up for a podium at the moment.
Yeah, he gained the most out of that.
Well, he went with Van Gisbergen.
He went, oh, well, I'm going now, bye. Like, he didn't have to wait. The car in front of him went, so he's gone. And he did what he had to do. But we do have an onboard of this restart from Van Gisbergen. You see these two? He's just chilling.
He sees the gap. Look at the gap on the inside.
He's like, oh, there's the line, bye. Gone.
That was cool.
That was awesome.
And there's Burke. Burke's going, all right. Anything you can do, I can do just as well. So he's done a really good job.
He did just as well.
He did just as well.
But yeah, what a restart. Well done to those boys to get the job done. Like you said, heads up driving from Van Gisbergen. And now let's see what he can do for another restart. He has to control it, and I'm sure the safety car will be in this lap. There's no need to go around again for another lap. Then we'll get restarted with roughly 5 odd laps to go.
And what he'll do, he'll pace himself. He won't do anything too crazy, but you know, it's all about getting a decent start, getting a nice clean start, and trying to make whatever ground you can into this long straightaway and into this braking zone where they are now on this first lap, because everyone's going to be buying for the draft. Everyone's going to be thinking about making a move up the inside, because they know that the pressure's building now, because we're getting closer and closer to that checkered flag.
That's it. And there have been, obviously, with all that has happened, there have been some standout gainers in terms of positions right now that have managed to gain some stuff. Obviously, Rosella's gained 12. He's currently in P7 for this restart, so he was a big beneficiary of everything that happened in the mid-pack. Brad Ryan, who we said earlier on, started from pit lane. He's now 14th, so he's gained some positions. Blake Warboys has gained 11. Kurt Stenberg is sitting 17th. He's up 21 spots. And I don't know how many times we've seen that car, Sam, and with that left front damage and him being in fights, but he's done a good job to get himself up there.
And the thing that's going to be good for Rivera as well, obviously he had that drama that took him out of contention. He's now in the battle. So, he might be in P8, but the way this is all going to unfold, he's still a chance of winning this.
He's not out of this at all, and the pace he's shown, was in that top 5 for 20 odd laps. He has the pace to get back into that top 5.
Only takes a couple of cars to come together or slow up their run, and so again, put the papers up in the air, throw them up there, catch what you can, and that's what you might come out with the winner. But this is going to be a cracking restart.
Dude, safety cars breed safety cars, sometimes breed safety cars. I'm just glad we don't have rain. I'm glad we don't have no rain yet. Yeah, soon. Hashtag. Mike's getting ready to let the safety car unleash Van Gisbergen. Will be in control of the field, and I can't wait for rain. And mind you, we should actually start talking about that. It is near the end of this season. There will be new content. There hasn't been a lot of hints as to what we're getting. Obviously, there is a new track I can't name it off the top of my head. I can't think about it because I've been so sick that I can't even remember what it's called. But I think it's Norwegian or Scandinavian.
And it's free too.
And it's free, which is going to be awesome. I think that's really cool that they've added it for an extra free content. So that's really cool. But obviously we all know about the rain. There's been some other leaks and some other cool cars that are coming out, which hopefully we'll see soon. So look forward to seeing that on the iRacing service next season. But here we go. Sandman, another restart.
Yeah, I think you'll find that Van Gisbergen will go a little bit earlier. He'll probably get to a point where he'll get through that last corner, the car will be straight, and he'll just go full throttle. But
yeah,
stranger things have happened. We don't know. Everyone's expected him to do that, so he might do something different.
He might hold them. He might do the same thing again, but I'm sure Phil Sell. Look at this. Look at Phil Sell. He's already setting himself up. He can overlap. You're allowed to overlap as long as you don't pass the car. That's what Phil Sell did with Kostecki, and it sort of backfired because they had a Shane Van Gisbergen in third. So let's see what Gizzy can do for this restart. He has control for the round. I feel like I said this just before. Round 5 of the Logitech G Supercar Pro Invitational from Spa. Roughly 5 laps to go, and let's see what Shane does.
Oh, he's going to hold him.
He's going to hold him.
And he's entitled to.
And
so now
he went, yeah.
Oh, and have a look at that.
There's Burke.
Phil Sell's going to lose a spot there, so Burke's gone straight into P2.
Good jump from Wayne Burke. Going to move himself up into P2, or is he? Phil Sell's going to hold it around the outside. Good job there. Something's happened to Rivera. He's dropping down the order.
Carnage back there, I think.
Yeah, I think there was a bit more carnage. We know safety cars do that. But here we go, out in front.
Sideways for Gizzy.
Sideways with Phil Sell in tow.
Now it's just going to be, they'll be snaking. Watch this. They're going to be trying to cover each other. They don't want to move to the, they do want to move to the inside, so they don't, but they're going to be side by side. He hasn't even had the chance, so Phil Sell is going to move up to the inside. Will Kostecki think about look too? Van Gisbergen's getting swallowed up at the start.
Gizzy's got back to second. Phil Sell with a move. Moves himself out into P number 1. Good job. There was contact. Kostecki, I think, will have got, shoved off wide. Burke to his inside, Warren and down, get the job done as well to move himself up another position. Rosella is on his inside. Will he give him the space on the exit? He does. Kostecki going to drop him behind? No, he's going to try and keep the position into No Name. He now needs to try and close up to those in front. But Phil Sell got the job done at the end of the straight, of the Kemmel Straight. Now back out to P1.
And that was tough for Kostecki. It looked like it was going to be an over-underpass, and it was just like they locked and came together, and then Kostecki couldn't quite turn, so he didn't quite get the car where he needed it. Unfortunately, that's cost him a few positions. That's going to be tough. It's going to hardly make it out now when they try and close up that gap. You can see that his teammate in Jared Philsell is now, he's done the bulk. He's a little bit in front of Van Gisbergen now, but they're not giving up back here. This is a great little battle. It looks like Kostecki's still going to have his work cut out for him.
Yeah, I don't think Kostecki's going to get away with that at all. Burton, what a recovery drive from Burton. Yeah, after getting turned around, he's currently inside the top 10 in P8. He's done a mega job to get back in here and try and have a shot at winning this race. Rosella just in front, Kostecki in front of them, but Phil Sell, he's bolted.
Yeah, he's pretty happy with his car. You can see that little bit of margin he's got. Looks like the guy's getting a little bit wide too. That was Burke, I think, just running a little bit wide. He's got his work cut out for him. Look at Warren's going to dive up the inside. He'll get the job done. It's going to be a crossover. Can he get it? Yeah, clears him nicely. So now he just eyes forward now and wants to latch onto the back of Van Gisbergen.
Well done to Warren. We said these TTR cars are quick, and Warren is now going to try and show that. He needs to close down just over a second and a half to Shane Van Gisbergen. Burke now under immense pressure from Madison down. He was all over the back of Ethan Warren. Warren will be like, I just got past you, and now I want to concentrate on the front.
I think Down's got a little bit of damage to that right front too, that coming together that he had unfortunately with his teammate Anderson. So wonder if that's hurting his straight line speed. Not sure. We'll see at this part of the racetrack.
And we'll see. 30-second time penalty for Benjamin Smith for his role in one of those incidents on that restart. It's another mega shot from Luke, looking up through Rouge and Radion. Then out in front, Burke under immense pressure from Madison down on the outside. Turns into the inside. He's going to try and hold him out wide down in the Rivage. Is he going to try and keep it down there? He is, but now it's Kostecki. He was having a look. Tried to see if he could find a way past, but couldn't. Down now, still side by side with Burke.
I love his hunger there, Kostecki. You can see these two battling out. He's like, where can I put it? He's going to think about a move up the inside of Down, because Down's going to be on the outside. These guys, a little bit of rubbing side by side. He backs out of it. He lets these two think about it. Down will try the crossover. Will he get up the inside? Not quite. Little bit of nose to tail action. Kostecki's right there to capitalise.
What is this? This isn't the last lap yet, boys. What are we doing? This is lap 35 of 39. I said you could bring this stuff out on lap 38. What is this? These guys are Burton on the outside of Rosella. They're fighting like it's the last lap. They know, though, they need to make all this time up if they want a shot at winning this race.
Mate, hard charger award for Jake Burton. He's doing a great job considering all the dramas he's had in this race. If you had told him when he was backwards and he had to get in the pit lane that he'd be in 7th coming towards the dying stages, he would have said no way.
He would have been like, what do you mean I'm going to finish inside the top 10? Are you serious? So Burton's done a mega job to put himself into this position now. He's got to try and close that gap to Kostecki, but in front of them, Down and Warren, he's gotten away from Burke. The Downs can't get past Wayne Burke to make himself into that position to try and close down on Van Gisbergen and Phil Sell out in front. Big move down the inside of Hayden Harrison, going on the inside of Jamie Dyke. They made contact as Dyke goes around in the background off the nose of Hayden Harrison, and that's going to be a bunch of spots lost for Jamie Dyke.
It's never good to get turned around in any incident, but especially in the dying stages of a race, that just adds insult to injury. So a bit of bad luck. That'll have the stewards to have something to look at in the last part of this race. But man, oh man, they're not giving an inch. Look at, there's not much room there. Don't want to close that door too hard.
I thought they were going to make contact there on the exit and be in the inside fence, but they did a good job to sort that one out. Todd Hayne let him go and get himself up into another position as Down has finally got past Burke. Burke gave him another shove through the middle of the cob, but that is a position gain for Down up into P number 4.
Yeah, and Burke's got his work out. You can see Kostecki hungry behind him too. So he's doing a good job. He's holding on. He knows that Down's got him, but still at the end of the day, I don't know if that straight line speed is hurting Down, that little bit of damage, who knows? He's just sideways on exit. And I love that he's just pressuring him. Wayne Burke is just like, you know what? I'm still going to give it to you. I'm not going to let you get away with it too easy, but man, sideways on the power, that's not ideal. But he needs to be, or both these guys really need to be eyes forward, because they can see the front few just starting to stretch out between each other.
That's it. Warren is trying to close the gap, to Van Gisbergen, and Gizzy's just using the toe of Phil Sell right now to keep himself out of that range. 1.1 seconds is the gap now between Van Gisbergen and Warren, but Gizzy looks hungry. He actually looks like he might have a bit of pace advantage. I know the draft helps a lot around here, but I thought Phil Sell, when he got to the front, was going to drop Gizzy and just disappear, but he hasn't really done that.
Yeah, I guess it's racetrack specific too. It's hard, when you try to make the bolt and the draft is key around here. So although as much as he's trying his hardest to put away, it's just Van Gisbergen, he's still got, they're all basically the exact same tyre wear. So, Van Gisbergen has still got a good car. He's got good tyre wear, but Phil Sell just can't break that draft. So you can see he's all over the back of him now, just trying to put as much pressure as he can, because they know the end of lap 36, it's almost time and they don't have too much time to play with.
There's not much left. Lap 37 of 39. 3 laps to go. Phil Sell leading Van Gisbergen. We look further back at the field. Warboy's going for a move on Hobson, to his inside in turn number 1. He's got the job done, has he? Nope, side by side. Hobson's going to try and get the run. Look at the exit speed. He got a little bit better exit. Now he's going to run down into Rouge. Either of them going to lift?
Someone's got it.
I hope so. Warboy's lifted. Some of them behind. I didn't think they were going to, but they did. Thank God.
Smart heads-up racing. It's tricky enough, and there you can see, here we go. Van Gisbergen's going to think about a dive up the inside. Yes, he does. Last of the late breakers, Van Gisbergen dives up the inside of Jared Phil Sell to take the lead on lap 37 for round 5. He's beaten back. Gone up the inside. They're side by side. Phil Sell's taken it back. This is a tremendous finish.
Phil Sell and Van Gisbergen are lining it up like it's round 1 all over again. Here we go. Let's see what these boys have got on show.
Where's Warren?
Where's Warren? Where's Warren? Warren's coming. Another TTR car is coming to steal the party. Look at all the road that Phil Sell's using. He is trying to hold on Van Gisbergen. And look at Warren. He's there now.
Yeah, he's loving it. He's seeing these guys battle in front of him like, go on forward, boys. This is just bringing me right back into the battle. So really loving what he's seeing. Van Gisbergen not giving an inch. Then he dives past, and then Phil's like, well, I'm coming back. So this is brilliant.
Can't believe we're going to get another grandstand finish like this at the start. Like we said, we thought it was going to be a one-way just running away. The top 5 that we had early on was showing what we were going to get in for, but now we've got these 3, Phil, Van Gisbergen, Warren, and we're going to be in for another grandstand as these guys behind down trying to drop Burke. Now Burke's going to have another dig at him.
Yeah, he's got decent pace. He's got the move up the inside. Down can't do anything about it. Now it'll be last of the late breakers. Oh, he's on the outside. He's had to give it up. He tries to think about a crossover. He's going to be working. Oh, he's nose to tail action. Kostecki was in it. There was contact. He's in the grass. Sideways trying to pull it up. Unbelievable. No way. That is going to be... Oh, he made contact as well.
Oh, he couldn't. He just got a little bit of a tap from down, who just tried to get out of it, but I think he had a tap from behind as well.
I think Kostecki got into the back of down, and then it was a concertina effect.
Check out the replay. Yeah, look at this on the replay. So, yeah, Kostecki in the down, and then, they've just sort of all gone to the right to try and break out, and then down was still in the rear, basically, of Hobson.
And he's tried to rejoin, but unfortunately he's just tagged that tyre barrier. That's heartbreaking. Here we go. On board Warren. He's going to try and think about a move. He's going to have to cross over. He's going to the outside. He'll have his work cut out for him. Oh, He's going to go off the inside. Look at him, 3 wide. Warren, get the job done on Van Gisbergen, but now he's on the outside.
Oh, not a lot of room there, Warren.
Oh, he's fired him off. Oh, he's just got away with it. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Now, will the stewards look at that? I don't know. They're going to have to look at that to see what sort of... I don't know. They'll decide. I'm glad I'm not doing that. I'm in the commentary box. I'm not worried about that. But we'll go to the replay. The Logitech G Supercars replay. Look at this. You can see these guys not giving an inch. He's on the outside. Van Gisbergen's just... just a little bit of a touch there. Unfortunately, man, how lucky was he not to touch the barriers?
I thought he was in the fence. I thought that was going in the fence, and that was going to be day done for Warren, but he managed to keep it on the racetrack. Well, back on the racetrack, I should say. And now he's going to try and see if he can hold on to P number 3, because Down and Kostecki are fighting hard. Warren's sliding all over the shop, trying to hold on to the rear of that TTR Commodore, but out in front, Phil Sell sort of broken the draft as they come up to start the final lap of what has been an immense race here for the Logitech G Supercars Pro Invitational for round 5 of the championship, but it's not over yet. Phil Sell in front by 1 second over Van Gisbergen. Warren now in a fight with Down and Kostecki.
Absolutely, Kostecki can see that these two are teammates, so they may work together. So Kostecki's going to go hungry. He's going to try around the outside and try to outbreak Down. Has he got anything left for him? If he can try the crossover, can't quite get position on the car. These guys given absolutely everything as we head into the last lap. Round number 5 here at Spa for the Logitech G Supercars Pro Invitational. It's coming down to the wire.
Van Gisbergen's in the range as we haven't looked through the field. Coming up to start the last lap, Barney waving that white flag to get us underway for the final lap of tonight. BLSL out in front. What's Van Gisbergen got? Is he close enough? I don't think he's close enough, Sam, man. I don't think he can get this job done.
No, it looks like Phil Sell's got just enough of a margin, providing that he doesn't make a mistake. I think he's going to be fairly safe as far as how much advantage there is in the draft. You can see Van Gisbergen's trying. He will go late. Look at the TTR guys. They're trying to battle it out. Warren and Down, these guys trying to find it out. I'm just trying to see if he was going to go around the outside, but we don't want to see that because they know just how crucial it is. They don't want to make up too much of a mistake because we can see Kostecki's right there and he will pounce if he gets an option.
That's, I think, Down wants to get the position, but he knows Kostecki is going to just shove it down and make any positional gain he can. Contact between the teammates on exit loosened up Warren just a little bit. And I thought that could have been the opportunity for Down to get the job done, but he had to back out of it. It's put Kostecki now all over it. He had a look. But 3/10 between the leaders. Van Gisbergen's closing on Phil Sell. There is that long back straight leading into the final chicane. He could try and have a late dive there, but look at this, Down and Kostecki all over each other.
Yeah, I think it's going to be the last of the late breakers again. Can Van Gisbergen get enough of a draft in this fast pass to the racetrack and then make that dive under brakes into the right-hander just before pit entry? I don't know. These guys are still having a red-hot go. Burton now into 6th place. Well done to Jake Burton to make that comeback. But it's all going to come down to here. How much margin can he pull in? I don't think he's close enough. He's going to think about a dive up the inside, but he needs to be a lot closer. You can see that car getting closer and closer in the rear view. He's not giving an inch.
I don't think he's close enough, Sam, man. I don't think he's close enough to throw it down the inside. He's going to try.
Oh,
big dive.
And Gisbergen's firing up. Oh, Phil Sells
Is he going to switch him?
Oh, who's going to be? It's a
drive.
race. Who's going to do
the
it?
exit with four.
He's done it. Phil Sells takes the win over Van Gisbergen.
What a race to the finish line. There's a car around in the background, I think, but what a drive. Warren beats down the last of the podium spots. What a race. These guys turn it up 6 weeks later, and this is what they do. I can't stand this.
Man, I told you Van Gisbergen was going to go for a last of the late breakers. That was awesome. That was unreal. We saw some pretty special things here tonight, and what a show these guys put on. An absolute drag race to the finish between Phil Sell and Van Gisbergen, but Phil Sell got the job done.
He did a really good job to hold on to that. I thought he was done with that poor exit. He was sideways off the last corner, but he held on, got the job done. Now he's going to smoke him down to the Rouge, I think. Yeah, there it is. Light him up. Well done from Jared Filsell. Another win under his belt in the Logitech G Supercars Pro Invitational.
What a finish. I mean, that was terrific. Phil Sell first, Van Gisbergen second, Warren third, down fourth, Kostecki fifth, Jake Burton P6. How good's that?
What a drive from Burton. I hats off to him for being turned around to then gaining all those positions back to finish inside the top 10, let alone P6, just outside the top 5. That's a mega drive. As we watch Phil Sell burn him down for round 5 of the Logitech G Supercars Pro Invitational. We'll bring up those results. Jared Phil Sell in a drag race to the finish with Shane Van Gisbergen pulls off another one. Can anyone stop him, Sandman?
Oh, they can. We've seen tonight just how fast the other competitors are around him. He just puts himself in the right position at the right time. Like, it's not like he's got a huge speed advantage over everyone else. Everyone took it to him tonight, but he was there in the end. So brilliant racing, really first class. And, you know, we know he's a smooth operator and he gets the job done. But, man, when you're in those pressure cooker situations and you still get the job done, that's what is key to winning championships.
Exactly. That is the key to doing what he does best in this championship at the moment, and that is being that dominant force out in front. As we look back at this final corner, I didn't think Gizzy was close enough. I thought this was done. But
look at this.
Yeah, watch it. 3, 2, 1, bang, down the inside.
Look at Phil Sell. He saw him coming.
Yeah, he knew it.
Gave him. Look how much room he gave him.
Yeah,
so
what's the exit? Bang, lit up the tires.
And they're both sideways. That was cool. That was really cool.
That's awesome. That is one way to finish out this championship.
Again, look at this closing margin from the chopper. This will see how much. Look at the game. Watch this. It's like 5-6 car lengths, and he just dives in. But look at Phil Sell. He doesn't take the racing line. He gave him room because he knew he was making that dive. That was just good heads-up racing by both of them. And look at them, both on the throttle, trying to get the power down. Look how sideways both of those cars are. Just getting on it, and it's like, well, Gizzy can't get past him. Nose to tail. Thanks very much. There's a checker.
What a race. Those
Very
two
cool.
put it on. And it's awesome to have Jared do that with Shane Van Gisbergen. It's 1, 2, those two. Phil Sell beats Van Gisbergen. Third, Ethan Warren gets on the podium. Madison Down, Brody Kostecki, Jake Burton. Hats off to him. That was a mega drive. Brady Myers, Luke Rosella, Blake Warboys and Brenton Hobson rounds out the top 10. Rick Kuznetsov in his first race in the championship comes home in 11th with Gilliam, Ross Boyd, Maloney, Coxhead, Stenberg, Mitchelson, Frau and Hayne rounds out the top 20 as we look through the rest of the field, and a lot of what ifs. What could have been Marcelo Rivera down in 28th? What could have been for him today of what was an amazing race? Same with Josh Anderson up there, same with Ethan Grigol. Just what a race it could have been for those guys.
Jake, maybe we should have had this race before the break because it's going to take us a few days to get over with our voices. I mean, this was an incredible round, the halfway mark of the 22 series, and have a look at that. We've just finished with Spa. Now we head to Hockenheim. Like, wow. Like, this was an incredible race, and now we just got to back it up. And these boys just keep delivering, regardless of what racetrack we go to. The racing is first class.
Yeah, it's been one of those things where these guys just turn it up every round of the championship. Hockenheim, one of my personal favorites on the server, so I can't wait to head there and see what these guys can put on. But let's hear about that race from none other than our race winner, Jared Philsell. Sandman, you'll be with Jared, our round 5 winner.
Jared, huge congratulations, mate. That was an epic race. You had everything thrown at you. The restart with Van Gisbergen with you and Kostecki, that was incredible. And then the battle that you guys had in those dying stages, that was impressive. Tell us how you're feeling from your seat. That was incredible.
Yeah, I need a shower. That was that was a pretty intense race there. I definitely think the detriment to my performance tonight, although I got the win, was the no practice. I definitely wasn't confident on the brakes at all, so that's something to take away from tonight. Probably cut a few more laps before we jump into a serious race. I just left myself way open every time in the braking zone there. But yeah, I'm not sure what happened on those restarts. I have to go back and have a look. There was a bit of games going on there, but I'm just trying to race to the rule book, and hopefully I don't get pinged on any restart infringements, which I don't think I will.
No, I think, well, look, without talking for race control, I think from our point of view, I think everything looked pretty clear and clean, but there was a little bit of gamesmanship between you and your boost teammate in Kostecki, and then Van Gisbergen just, he sort of picked the start and shot past you. It would have been quite the surprise, I would imagine.
I just went hard left. I didn't want to be on Brody's door and then Shane go rocketing up the inside there for a potential accident. So yeah, I got myself out of that situation quick smart. But there was a bit of games going on. I think Brody jumped me in the pits. He said he was going to add such and such, but I did a little bit less, that's the game we're playing. So that's it's all good.
Now, it looked like a good battle throughout that race, though. You were always in touch with the leaders, that when it came to pit stops and then there were safety cars that came into it. Did you feel pretty confident, though? I know you said your lack of laps, wasn't ideal, but you still looked, the car yourself, everything looked pretty good.
Yeah, in the first stint, I was just saving fuel following Marcelo. It's unfortunate that he had his little pit stop drama. But yeah, the car was fine, just under driving it, following people. It was fine. But yeah, when we kind of stepped on it there and went to race to get the pit lane first, the car was dead straight away. So yeah, I think it was picking and choosing your battles tonight was definitely key, given the high degradation that we got around this track. It was a very interesting race from my cockpit, that's for sure. Just trying to fend off everyone.
And lastly, before we let you go, that dive on that last lap from Van Gisbergen, it looks like you sort of knew it was coming, and it was smart heads-up driving by yourself to give him some racing room, because as we see the replay, you can see how far back Van Gisbergen was, but then fired in, but you were smart enough to leave that room.
Yeah, he's always going to throw a dive. That's typical Shane. Don't hate on him for having a go, but he was definitely getting pretty aggressive on the brakes towards the end there. He's definitely got a different brake package to what I have, that's for sure. He was sending in there from way back, which was good. So yeah, good on him. It's good to see him having a fun race with us.
It was a great battle, good to watch. Before we let you go, is there anyone you want to thank, mate?
Yeah, obviously Boost. It's cool having both Boost cars on track this year in this series. It's great exposure for them, as well as Wave Runner Performance Center. I think they're on the car this week. I'm pretty sure there was a really rush job to get them back on the car with the livery revision there. So thanks to Jordan for his support as well. And yeah, putting his hands in his pockets and getting Dane as my co-driver, that's cool. That should be cool come Enduro time. So yeah, thanks to those guys, as well as Bush for doing the setup as per usual, and all the guys at SSR for tuning the dock.
Well, huge congratulations, mate. We'll let you go and catch your breath. Enjoy that one, and we'll talk to you next time we go racing. But until next time, thanks very much, Jared.
Thanks, guys.
And Jake, I believe you got Shane Van Gisbergen, P2.
That I do. I have Shane Van Gisbergen coming home in P number 2. What a race between yourself and Jared there at the end. That was just unbelievable. Mega to have you here as well. But what a race between yourself and Jared.
Yeah, hey guys, thanks for having me. Yeah, it was cool to jump in for some fun and have a good race. And yeah, it's cool to race these guys. They're at top of their game, as you saw in the Supercars E Series type thing. So yeah, it was cool to come and have a go. And I got close, had a big go on the last corner, but Jared was too good.
Just a little bit of a big go. We were all not expecting you to throw it from that far back, but you did, and it was a mega drive. Was it something that you had in the setup that just allowed you to have that brake confidence? Because obviously you're mega in everything else you do on the sim. Was it just something else that you had for this car?
Nah, not really. I just knew he, when I saw he didn't block, I just had a crack. But yeah, it was good fun. It was pretty wild with the restarts and stuff, and quite cool the format of this racing with the safety cars and stuff like that. Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, tell us about that restart. That was one of the things that I think we were all a bit, well, here comes Shane out of nowhere. Phil Sell and Kostecki were playing games out the front, and you knew what you had to do. As soon as they reached the control line, you went. Tell us all about how that unfolded.
Oh yeah, you basically said it. I just sort of waited until the control line, then stepped on it, and I think a couple of other guys, I think Berkey behind me judged it pretty good as well, and yeah, we got through. So I tried to do it in the second one, and it worked for me. I got away a little bit as well by going late. It caused a cluster behind me, so yeah, it all works pretty good.
Oh, Mega, it was awesome to watch, and a massive shout out to having you here, and anyone else you'd like to thank before we let you go tonight, Shane.
Just all the Lobs boys, Binfield, and obviously Brad for tuning up the paint a little bit. Yeah, it looked pretty cool, and hopefully can come do the next one.
Yeah, it looked awesome. Cool to have that livery on the racetrack. But congratulations on your second place, and hopefully we can see you do some more events.
Yeah, cheers guys. Thank you.
Thank you. And that was Shane Van Gisbergen coming home in P number 2 after a mega battle with Jared Philsell. And Sandman, you're going to be with our third place sitter, who was there at the end, nearly, Ethan Murray.
Yeah, Ethan, congratulations, mate. Out of the TTR stable, put on a hell of a show, mate. And, mate, from 14th on the grid. Tell us about your night.
Yeah, thanks, guys. It was a pretty eventful night, to be honest. Didn't get off the best start in qualifying, just not getting a good lap in with, like, getting a tow and everything, and then getting held up when it mattered. So, yeah, that definitely put me on the back foot for the whole race, but happy to come through the field to get a podium finally. So, yeah, can't complain.
A decent battle with your teammate too in Madison Down. That was good to watch. But how did you think all that was going to play out? You could see the leaders towards the end of that race, and they were starting to open up a little bit of margin. Were you concerned that they were just going to get away and you weren't going to be able to close that gap?
Yeah, I've been struggling at pace this whole week at Spa, to be honest. I came in not very confident, so to be anywhere near the top guys was yeah, pretty good in my eyes. So yeah, I knew I didn't really have the pace for them, so I just had to settle for third.
Mate, something to keep your head held high too, because that's a heck of an achievement. You know, we saw about some people, you know, finding themselves back in the pack and struggling to get forward, but to make those gains and make a podium from that far back, it's a credit to you and the team, mate. Well done.
Yeah, obviously everyone puts in a hell of a work at TTR. We always work on setups and trying to better each other, pushing each other, and that definitely, I think we had good pace this week, but just yeah, I think most of the guys got caught up in some unfortunate incidents, which is not always good to see.
And speaking of incidents, I know you can't see the replay, but we've just watched that replay with Anderson and Down that had that drama. You were so lucky not to get caught up in that. That was a very close one.
Yeah, that was interesting. I was kind of being really cautious because I saw them going too wide, and I was just yeah, I'll just back out of it and take the safe option and try and get to the other side.
Well, huge congratulations, mate. You'd be proud of tonight's effort, but before we let you go, is there anyone we need to thank?
Yeah, obviously, big shout out to all the TTR guys. They put in a hell of a work every round, and can't thank them enough. That's why we're always as quick as we are. Obviously, all our sponsors are Virtual Racing School, Extreme Motor Trimming, Peronzo, Cool Drive Water Pass, Cartefex Model Cars, and Lee Ellis Designs, and you guys for the broadcast.
Thanks, Ethan. Congratulations again, mate. Well done, and we look forward to seeing you for round 6. But until next time, mate, take it easy, well-earned rest, and we look forward to seeing you at Hockenheim.
Thanks, guys. Just see you next round.
Cheers, mate. There you go, Jake. Man, what a race. Those top 3 really turned it on in those final laps. But, man, this race is going to be one for the ages.
It's another one from the Logitech G Supercar Pro Invitational. We put that one in the vault because that'll be brought out numerous times from here on out. What a race. What an event to come back to. And 2 more weeks and we're at Hockenheim. I don't know how we're going to get through that one, Sandman, but we've got to get through both of them.
Brilliant. Can't wait. It'll give us some time to gather ourselves and get our voices back. Well done for you, Jake, playing on. I know you're not feeling the best, so huge job for you, mate. Really appreciate the work. And Luke, behind the scenes, did a stellar job with the broadcast, bringing up all the replays. So huge congratulations to you, Luke, and everyone part of the Logitech G Series. I can't wait for the next round in 2 weeks' time.
Yep, cannot wait for the next round, Sandman. And again, thank you for that. And you do a mega job carrying me through this one today, as I have been a little bit unwell. I'm not sure if they can hear it. I'm going to need these 2 weeks off just to rest the voice before we get back going. But from all of us here at Logitech G Supercars Pro Invitational, that was up for tonight. Can't wait to see you, everyone, in 2 weeks' time for what's going to be a cracking round at Hockenheim. Goodbye.
Well, Spa never fails to deliver, and yet again we saw an amazing race that puts the championship on a tightrope for many of our drivers. The top 20 is now looking even tighter, so already some are looking towards next year and the qualifying series. But we now head across Europe to Hockenheim for 2 sprint races in 2 short weeks, and those 2 weeks are 2 weeks closer to the Enduros. But until then, I'm Priya Richards and you've been watching the Logitech G Pro Invitational Series.